Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Call of Duty Challengers Elite. And that was me making sure I wasn't muted for this stream, which fortunately I was not. Well, I am Bryce and we'll be bringing you all the action for the North American region. And joining me here, of course, my wonderful colleagues, Tun and Ellen. Ellen, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Bryce. I'm really excited to get into the games tonight. Nothing really more can be said than that.
Well, I think you've muted yourself somewhere, Ellen, because I can't hear you, unfortunately. So you've just made the mistake that I have. Tun, are you good?
Well, actually,
I think you're in the
I think
green room.
you're in the wrong channel.
I was
So
in the
look
wrong
at him
section.
coming in here and calling everybody out.
Well, I
when
was
it was
fine
him.
up to a second ago. It is what it is. You know what? I don't even know how Tun is. Let's move on to tonight's games and talk about everything we've got coming on. Look, rough start. It's fine. It's all good. You know, we are professionals. We'll adapt and overcome. Let's have a little look at the standings for the North American region and try to get this back onto track. So, first of all, Subliners Academy 2-0, E-Star 2-1, UT Crew, TMNT, Lag Academy, Triumph, Fantastic 4, and Built by Gamers. That is how it is currently laying out here in the North American region. Ellen, what do you make of this list?
My attention is to that Easter roster. I know last season they had a really good run. Obviously now losing Fellow. Maybe a little bit of struggles there. They have Sib now on the team, but nonetheless, I really want to see what they bring to the table this season because, with a roster change like that, I want to see how quickly they adapt to it. And I know they had 2 series against Fantastic Four and BBG, and both series, a little bit of the struggle there. They did take them final map, but did come out on top. So nonetheless, 3-2-3 on that, but I don't know. I'm just really curious to see which direction they go, and overall, the competition's fierce in North America.
Yeah, it really is. A lot of people have been looking to this region, not because just of how great the actual competition is, but wondering where the next franchise player will come from as well, Tun.
Yeah, and I think that makes it a big problem in terms of how we can follow the team story. But I think, this is the difference between North America and Europe, is that things do change so often, which, I think a lot of people in Europe sort of look at it and criticize it like, they're always changing their rosters. But I think that's because it's more accessible for franchise teams to pick the best talent from this pool, which is a high level of talent, let's be honest. It could be any of them at this rate. We've seen some being given an opportunity where people have been surprised at, some not so much, and some people not getting an opportunity that would be expected potentially. But we've seen plenty of good challengers players make the step to the franchise side of things and play very, very well. So it really could be any of them, Brycey, at this point. There's so many good players down in the NA side.
Yeah, there certainly are. And of course, making a good performance in the Challengers Elite stage is certainly where you want to begin. Obviously, we've had pros come down, we've had players go up, and certainly make an impact for themselves. So I think that's where everybody's kind of keeping an eye on these now. Maybe it's the next scouting or seeing what's going on. But if you're keeping an eye yourself, here's what we've got coming up for tonight. These are the games we'll be covering. If you did join us for the European region, of course, it is Elevate have taken down August 3-1, and Amelia Strays defeat Elevate 3-0. So they went 1-1 on the day. Of course, now we are in the North American region. E-Star versus UT Crew will be our very first game. And coming up straight after that one, we will have LAG Academy versus Built by Gamers. Some very big games going on there, but of course, we kick it off with E-Star versus UT Crew. Doing pretty well between them at the moment to see who can come out on top, though. Ellen, who do you favourite in this one?
Easter, 100%.
Okay.
I'm actually really excited about this match because John, longtime friend, really excited to see him back playing again. And with the Jerd and essentially Gravity, again, they did make a roster change, but nonetheless, with the experience of those players, I really think that they're going to thrive right here.
No, I think so too. I think we're looking forward to seeing a lot of these players play a ton. Do you think it's going to be close or not?
I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. Obviously, we've seen Easter maybe lose a game that we didn't necessarily expect, sitting at 2-1. But for me, I think, you look at that Easter squad, you do expect them to be pretty comfortable on this one. They have that, breadth of experience that we talked about then that youngster in there such as Sib, who really can cause problems, is making a lot of noise himself. So interested to see if they can translate that into a bit of a better performance so far. But I honestly, you would expect them to beat UT Crew. That's where everyone will kind of be leaning, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I can see that happening as well. I think one of the key things here is that it's pretty much as close across the board for a lot of these, though. Like I said, the problem I'm having with the North American region at the moment is what we just alluded to a minute ago. There is a lot of team changes going on. There is a lot of poaching by franchises. Players are changing so fast. It is almost difficult to keep control of. Fortunately, we've got some great stats guys, and you can obviously go on the Call of Duty Challengers website as well. That always helps me out to make sure I keep a track of all the games and everything else. But I'm always curious about it because everyone talks about this honeymoon period, right? Everyone's like, oh, new teams form. It's going to be one of these where they play well for a few months or a few weeks, and then it goes. Well, North America's like that every single week. Like, how are you going to figure out, who's a team with the staying power over time if it's constantly changing back and forth? But Ellen, is there anyone else in this North American region who's really shined to you?
NYSL. I mean, honestly, you have the stage 1 team. That's the team that essentially won stage 1, and I'm really excited to see them play again. As a formation, I really think that they're a force that's going to be hard to beat, and overall, I think they are undefeated. So that's one of my personal favorites.
All right, well, let's move on now. Talk about the maps for this upcoming game. Of course, this will kick off our North American region, so let's see how exactly it is going to play out. We're going to kick it off with Raid Hardpoint, then we move on to Express Search and Destroy, then Control Raid. All the new maps for the first 3, but if it does continue after that, we go Moscow Hardpoint, and then Miami Search and Destroy if we get all the way to a map 5. Ton, now we've seen the maps for this first game, Easter versus UT Crew. Does it change your mind at all about how you think these teams are going to play?
Not particularly. I think, honestly, we look at the strength of Easter. We know how good they have been. And again, they just have a little bit of everything. I know losing Fellow is not necessarily the ideal scenario for them, but they've not really lost any talent in that respect, obviously, with Sib. I just see a pretty clean game here. I know that obviously UC Kuro coming in here, very decent roster themselves also, but I don't think they would have enough for Easter here. And in many of the game modes, we'll see maybe a Search and Destroy potentially, but I'm thinking pretty comfortably for Easter.
I can see that. I was looking about who they've beaten so far. And you know what? They have only fallen ready to the Subliners Academy, who look pretty good themselves as well. I suppose this game it gives us a lot of context for people watching it and moving forward. Yes, Easter are obviously going to be the favourites in this one, but where are UT Crew benchmarked? If they do win this one, it could be a little bit of an upset. People put much higher into the rankings. If they lose it, but it's close, you go, well, they're not too far off this team. We start figuring out, even at this early stage, with only this amount of games played, where we think these teams are going to end up. And I have been told we are trying to get into the lobby for this first one, but it hasn't happened quite yet, so don't worry about it. We'll keep filling you in on all the action as it goes on as we wait for this game to try and start. But let's switch tacks then and talk about some of the other teams in this one. Of course, Subliners Academy. It's going to be one of these ones where realistically they've looked pretty good so far into it. Top of the leaderboard. What do we think?
I think, realistically, it's not coming as any surprise. I mean, you see so many of the pros in the franchise teams talking about why Saints hasn't had his chance yet.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think if it wasn't for a lot of the young challenger players who are new and need to kind of be tested by these franchise teams, I think you would have been getting a shot. But I think, it's something I've spoke about at length, that when you are one of these pro teams, you're in that general season that they have, the majority of it is pretty risk-free to a certain degree until you get to that major. You just put yourself in a better spot. So it's a good chance for them to try out these players with not kind of that mass amount of risk. You're not going to LAN events and having to play with these guys for a full weekend of like 10 games. You play with them a few games, if things don't work out, you can change things around. So that's why I think a lot of these younger challenger players who are just on the come up are getting their turn, and the majority of them are flourishing. So I think that's the only reason that Saints isn't getting his shot right now. I think if we were in a normal season, I think he would have been in there a while ago with his last experience, etc.
Should be in there.
And he's looked really, really good on top of everything else. So I think he will get his shot eventually. He just needs to keep playing how he's playing. And if he keeps playing that way, Subliners Academy are going to continue to look strong.
They are. I wonder if it's because he's in the Subliners Academy, and maybe like another team may have taken a punt on him. But there are certainly some franchises that could do with trying Saints out and putting them forward. Because here's the thing: we're going to keep watching Challengers Elite and going, oh yeah, Saints is frying again and doing great work. We're sitting there, oh, it's still not been picked up. Well, I guess I'll continue to dominate Challengers for a while and see how that one plays out. But no, it is one of the teams we'll obviously be keeping a close eye on here. One of the heavy favourites to walk away with this one, but still an awful lot of games left to go to see whether or not it helps. Ellen, I was going to ask you, is there anybody else apart from Subliners who we should be keeping an eye out here?
Realistically, every team. But no, you know,
I'm wrong.
Built by Gamers, they have a very interesting story, and you know, I had a chance to watch a couple of their games last night. They did lose to TMNT 3-0-3, but they played Fantastic Four, which is potentially, you would think, a harder team to beat, and they won. They were down 0-2 and they reverse swept them. So BBG, although the record, I mean, they got essentially the hardest matches out of the way. I really feel like this week is very important for them if they want to make, you know, not get relegated and make 6, but like nonetheless, they're a very interesting team, and their consistency is kind of a little bit all over the place. But I really feel like, you know, just coming down from that loss last night and bringing it back against a team, especially like Fantastic Four, it was amazing stuff from them. So I really would like to see how they play this week, and as far as consistency goes, and hopefully they can clean up that record a little bit.
No, I agree with that one as well. I know. So the thing is, when I'm looking over like the team list and everything else, it's always kind of a shock to me, even though I know it's going to happen. Like seeing just the pro players from the franchises just dropping and going, oh yeah, Fantastic Four, that's the team with a couple of them in.
Yeah,
I forgot.
All
yeah,
of them.
I forgot they were. This is what I was talking about with the constantly changing teams. They're like, oh, this team, Fantastic Four. I don't remember watching them last time. Or this time, oh yeah, sorry, that's the team that's got Methods and Slack in. Yeah, that's quite a serious team, right? As you go forward. Tan, what do you make of them then as they try to mix it up themselves? Fantastic Four.
Well, I think they've kind of run into the same problem that some of the other players who have dropped down from franchise teams has also run into. Challenges is not easy. It is super difficult. I mean, we even seen what was Zero, who dropped into the European side of things when he couldn't get his visa sorted, so he couldn't get over to play for the London Royal Ravens. He went the Challenger side and hasn't qualified for Elite yet, and this is Zero. We know how good he is. We know how good the teams he's been in are as well. It is not easy. There is nothing in this Challenger side of things that is an easy game, and it just proves it. I mean, Decimate, Fire, Methods, and Slacked on the team, and they're sitting at 1 and 2. It's not just turning up and playing against the normal players you're playing against. You're playing against guys you would have obviously played. It's obviously at the top end, a smaller little bubble, but it's not as sort of protected as the franchise teams. You could be going up against anybody playing something a little bit different, and it is a super, super passionate bunch of players as well. They all want to do it. They all want to be in the spot that these guys have been in. They want to beat them every single time. They'd be looking at guys like Fire, Method, Slack, Decimate, and be like, right, I want to beat these guys really, really badly. And it kind of means more to them. If you're these players who've dropped down from franchise into Challengers, you're just trying to tick on by until you can get your spot again. For these other guys, there's more to prove.
Is that the case? I feel
well,
like if
you know, it depends.
I can see your argument, right? You could think realistically, and I can see the point you're trying to make. If you are a player who's dropped down from the franchise, the upper echelon of high tier Call of Duty with players on good salaries and the facilities and the coaches and all of this, you should probably go, oh yeah, this is, maybe you can take your foot off the gas a little bit. Should be easier in theory, right?
In theory,
think about it the other way. If you go into challenges and don't do well, like, you've already been dropped from a franchise team or moved onto the bench or whatever has happened, and it may not even be their fault. That's the other thing. Some of these players who drop down, it's not because they're a bad player. They could just be a bad fit, or the meta's changed, or any one of a million reasons. Yep. But it compounds when you don't do well in Challengers Elite. It compounds, right? Like, if you're not in a franchise team and you've moved into Challengers Elite and you're not dominating,
well, yeah.
Regardless of how good of a player you are and whether or not you'd be good in a franchise, people look at it and go, oh, I don't know if that player's great at the moment.
Well, I honestly couldn't name a player who has been dropped, who has looked as dominant as maybe some other people would have expected in challengers, but I think that's just more sort of the point, that the level of challengers for me is not far off the franchise level at all. It's not even remotely a big gap. Honestly, I'd be super interested to see some of these challenger teams going in against the franchise teams just to see what would happen, because honestly the level is insane. It's really high.
Ellen, me and Tom just arguing there. Let's
No,
keep
I was
waiting on this.
entertained.
You waited on this, Ellen.
You know, I kind of agree with a little bit what Tun said as far as like, okay, not on the franchise side, but from the amateur side, if you go against players with those big names, you do get kind of amped up. Like, I know even when I used to compete, I would see like, you know, pro players, and I would be like, okay, we have to beat them. Like, if we beat them, we're making a statement right now. So, you know, in terms of like that game with BBG against Fantastic Four, that's, you know, it can be like what happened. I'm not saying, but essentially they're all past pros as well too, but regardless, compared to some of these other teams that they're playing, it's just like, you know, you just get that fire just comes, and you know, you don't want to slack if you're on that side, even if you did just get dropped on from a franchise team. So I agree with both of you on both points.
that seems like the easy way out.
Yeah,
she's on the fence.
I had to.
All right, well, it doesn't matter.
Shortcut.
This game is ready to go, so we'll say goodbye to Tun. It's me and Ellen casting this one.
That's right. And off the break, it looks like now we're on hopping on board with Yeez here, who has a sub in his hand. UT Crew seemed like they were having a little bit of role issues last time I was watching them. Between Major Maniac and Yeez, they were switching roles. And so I know that it's nice to see him, and hopefully we see an AR in Major Maniac's hand now. But nonetheless now, it looks like we have UT Crew, who does have control over this point. Not a bad start for them. So overall, we're going to start taking a look at, with 25 seconds left, Easter does have spawns. They're going to be pushing through that laundry side to collapse on this hill, but not before UT Crew comes and slays them out.
Well, certainly is. Good start, though, for UT Crew. We've got to try and pound this, though, and make sure they get into kitchen. Something they have actually ended up doing with only a few scrap points for Easter here. They're now going to have to try and make a hard break. Jerd tries to go straight through the front door. Phantom says, thank you very much. And now they've got the long road to go. Spawning out Raid and Art. They've got to try and break a full setup.
That's correct. And Dylan Rex here, kind of having a little bit of a damage there coming in from Easter now as they flood the back. But Major Maniac, as I said, with that AR in hand, most comfortable spot to be in, throws a trophy in to try to help him protect from those projectiles. But Gravity does take him down with a huge two-piece in the back now, as he solidifies that spawn. But nonetheless, UT Crew still is hitting this hill time, and now Easter cleans up those kills. But with 27 seconds remaining on the clock, you're going to slowly start to see that rotation towards the garage hill.
Well, Jerd just playing for the scrap time, something they probably need, depending on whether or not they win this rotation as well. Jerd knows the Major Maniac's probably going to come through the back, but that rotation is important. And UT Crew will now be in control. Big push coming through the water. John gets a big first kill. This might allow them to actually break back through, Ellen.
Yep, that's correct. Now the split spawns are coming in from both sides, and I'm sure that they know this. Now as you see Sib kind of rotating through the pinch there, as Easter tries to collapse onto this point, John just waiting patiently for his teammates, and that collapse does come in, but UT Crew do get those kills, and still kind of a contest from both sides here, but overall, John is going to have to get that kill, but Dylan Rex does manage to take him out. But again, this is just kind of contesting. Interesting spawns here coming in. No one really necessarily having the spawns, but as I say, that Major Maniac and UT Crew do clear out that, and Easter, overall, they're still getting that close spawn, but have to think about the next rotation.
They certainly do, and they really need to start thinking about a way back into this game. Wouldn't be the first time tonight, though, that we've seen Raid go all the way back through a few good rotations. You can see it right now. Whether or not they can make this and lock it down. Sib is going to be under a little bit of pressure here. Coming in Phantom first of all, Major Maniac, but he's going to be pinched from kitchen. And that's going to be all of Easter. Unfortunately, down at this point, the rotation will go to UT Crew, something that Easter desperately needed.
And upon doing so, it looks like UT Crew does solidify the spawn and now look comfortably in this hill as Easter. They have to try to find a way to answer back, and the kitchen push does come through, but Major Maniac and Dylan Rex there to shut them down. And again, John does manage to pick up a couple of kills. Huge two-piece from him as his team does spawn closer to the front. But overall, Easter is really going to have to figure out a way to answer back to suck up some of this remaining time. But UT Crew just looking so strong in the slaying power.
They really are. Dylan Rex, though, waiting by Tiggy. Now incoming P5 rotation, and Easter desperately need it as we try to go into the second set of rotations after this to try to get back to it as well. Dylan Rex is going to take on Jerd. Jerd more than equal to it, but there is a fight going down in P5. Gravity has got it as well. Major Maniac spraying like mad to try and get that last player. Not going to be able to. Rotation now coming in. Easter are down by over 100 points. They are going to need to do some serious work here. It's going to be Civ on the outside there and gets two as well. Right now, it is going better for them. Are they going to be able to hold this, though, as UT Crew will look to readjust?
And I like the setup that Easter has set up here. They had this essentially every lane locked down on the map. John over there in that kitchen does manage to pick up a two-piece, and Sib was over there locking that raid side down, trying to get set up essentially for that next hill, but also just locking and solidifying the spawn. But nonetheless, UT Crew does manage to take him out. Now Jerd with a huge three-piece. Can he get the fourth? Gravity there to clean up the last kill, and that was huge for Easter to bring them back into this game, and now bringing it closer and closer to hopefully have a lead change.
Well, Jed wasn't really having a good game before that. 3-3's brought him back into it just a little bit. As you can see, the rotation coming through, but I think Jed is guessing that there is, in fact, somebody behind them in art. He's called it out himself. Looking for as well. John trying to lock down Laundry. A lot of pressure coming in. This is going to be a big pinch for them. They need to make trades on at least one side of the hill. Sib managed to get another two-piece. Gravity gets one as well. And they are now spawning them out towards Garage. This is suddenly a very different game. Easter have found some legs.
That's correct. Easter with a slow start here. Definitely looking like they're coming alive now. And overall, too, they have spawns for that next rotation, so very good spot here. They don't necessarily want to push into that hill and give up lives. They have to hold that back Laundry area, but UT Crew does manage to take out two. They have to worry about Jerd, though, in Laundry, and he does take out two now. Can he get the third on Major Maniac? No, Sib does, cleans that kill up, but nonetheless, now in the back, they have to worry about Dylan Rex, who is set up at that P2 hill, and nonetheless, Easter does have spawns, though, for this new rotation.
They certainly do. Dylan Rex, though. Pressure coming in. It's going to be Jerd on the close. He is going to pick that one up as well. Another one coming in. Sib. Dylan Rex says, thank you very much. And already, they are now putting the hurt back on to Easter, who have done so much work to bring this back to a 40-point game. Do not have the rotation. It looks like it might be the front. It's going to be Major Maniac to try and deflect on Paul Stairs. One player going to the back. It's going to be John. The big kill towards the back here, but I just don't see an opening. With two players down, they are still spawning close enough. One last push for this one before the rotation comes in, and they could do with the points. Here they come straight into it already. There's players on elbow, and that could be all done, as it will be every member of Easter eventually going down, and they can't afford another push here, Ellen.
They most definitely can, and 20 seconds left on the clock. You're going to slowly start to see that rotation, and, you know, Jerd's already on that pool side, locking that down, and John over here with the huge... I thought that was two-piece, but Gravity there in the middle helped clean it up, so that's 3 down overall. Maybe trying to be a little bit aggressive there. I probably would have gave up that rotation, but nonetheless, he still does have his teammates set up in the garage.
Well, they're spawning water. They know that player is now going to come through Ring and Art. So they're going to have to be a little bit careful. Already, Phantoms is going to go down, but Jerd has still got this top bedroom locked in. But the pressure is going to continue to mount unless they keep making these kills. Eventually, Sib going down. Gravity trying to play his life. Has backup here as well. Players now flooding in from UT Crew, but they just can't get enough kills on the board to actually lock it. As Jerd will get another one, and John. And that may now be the opportunity for them to rotate.
That's right. They need to hold every single second here to bring it up, hopefully to 180. But John has a little bit of pressure there coming in from Major Maniac, trying to just stay alive. But UT Crew recognizes this. They say, you know what? We have a lead. We don't necessarily need to fight that and give up spawns. We're going to back up. So UT Crew does back up now. They do have Gravity to worry about in the spawn here. Yeez doesn't necessarily push out the back and check that, but Gravity, he does catch him with his pants down now. He does take him out. And can he get the second? Dylan Rex. And you have over there who was that? Phantoms. I couldn't tell for a second there. But UT Crew overall, they do secure that spawn now. Easter is spawning out in a very trouble situation.
He's going to try and deflect a little bit of this one. Joe goes down. John gets one as well. It's going to be big kills here for Easter if they want to break this one. This could be the end for them. Gravity's going to get one through the front of the hill, and they might have to do this the whole way. Gravity gets a second one. Sib's gone in to try and contest it. Jer's coming to back him up as well. Dylan Rex goes wide. Gravity gets a third while he's been sitting here, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. They still have that locked in the front. Yeez gets the final kill. And now, Easter, all they can do is sprint there and hope for the best. I don't think it's going to be enough, Ellen.
Yeah, 18 seconds left on the clock, and essentially UT Crew just got 3 down now. It's pretty much up to Jerd. They can hold every single second here and win the game, and it's just really hard for Easter. They have to push through the front, but again, only 2 seconds left on the clock. It looks like UT Crew is going to take that in fashion and up 1-0 in the series.
Well, there we go. UT Crew starting off very, very hot, and Raid is definitely one of those maps that can be quite streaky if you get a few good rotations, and you can see, right, they knew they could give it up and kind of walk around and keep locking things up for them. I will say, though, Easter did seem to be coming back into the game. If they didn't have such a poor start at the beginning, it could have been a little bit of a turnaround for them. They just really weren't able to do it there in the end, Ellen.
I agree. Sometimes that happens, maybe it just, it takes a little bit to get warmed up and get to the groove. So down, but not out. So overall, Easter still played, very well, but nonetheless, great win from UT Crew. Their slaying power was unmatched.
Yeah, it certainly was. He said, if you want to start off hot, you got to make sure you lock it down at the end. And they started strong and they finished strong as well. So that's exactly what we're going to do. But that thing there what happened at basketball is exactly what I like to talk about when you basically just don't have any options available. Right? They had to do the hard force to the front. They didn't really have an option. And even with Gravity doing this great way, he kept picking up kills. He kept swinging out wide, picking the guy off the chest high cover and trying to allow a kind of a gap for his team to open. Unfortunately, he can't do it all, and they still have to flood through and try to get into square. It's a nightmare scenario because a lot of times it doesn't work that way, and all the other team knew they had to do was flood through the stairs. The only time the front flood really normally works is if you can at least let the enemy team think somebody's coming back so they can't commit force to the front. Unfortunately, when they know you've got no time, you're spawning out and they're going to win the game, they go, oh, no, we'll be fine. We'll just sit here.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, essentially, when you want to break kills to it. And when you don't have a lot of time, you kind of have to, right? You kind of get in that mode where you start panicking and in that situation to maybe send a split push, maybe push through kitchen. But it's really hard when there's only, 10, 15 seconds left on the clock. And it's just high pressure, high intensity. So you just want to run right in there. But like you said, it's just tough. It's difficult. It really is.
No, 100% is. Let's take a little look, though, at the maps for anybody looking at this series to see how it's going so far. Of course, we started off with Raid Hardpoint, and UT Crew did take that 250 to 175. Then we move on to Express Search and Destroy. That'll be our very next map up between these two. Raid Control will be our third map. Moscow Hardpoint if we get that far, and of course ending it on Search and Destroy Miami if somehow this goes to a map 5. But I will say, Ellen, there was a lot of talk about Easter being the favorite team into this one, with UT Crew taking the first Hardpoint. Have you changed your mind?
Why do you gotta ask me these things? I believe in Easter. I know that they just had, essentially, they did lose fellows. So, maybe taking a little bit of time to adjust. It's not over, essentially they have tomorrow too and next week. But nonetheless, UT Crew, they're looking much more comfortable adjusting. And I know the addition to Major Maniac, it looks like he's playing a little bit more comfortable role, because I know between him and Yeez, they were switching between the AR and sub. But nonetheless, UT Crew is looking very good. Now I'm kind of questioning, which way is this going to go? I can't tell you that. What about you?
I'll tell you something. I'll deflect that by saying the fact that we've got S&D Express up next is something I'm very much looking forward to. I don't think I've cast a Search and Destroy Express so far, or at least in a very long time. Obviously, I do remember casting it back in Black Ops, way ago. Fortunately, I've been playing a little bit as well, but I am looking forward to seeing it played at a high level with the minimap and everything ready to go, and I kind of get to break it down, or at least in my mind, what I think should be happening. But this game is ready to go, of course. Let's have a little look at the attack now with Easter.
Yeah, and you say that. Now all we need is standoff, Bryce. That's it. It's standoff now, and we'll have the Black Ops 2 dream.
It's coming.
Nonetheless, though, looks like here at Easter on the aggressive side, they did lose Sib there to Dylan Rex, but slowly the bomb is going to make its way towards A, but Jared seeing Yeez there is going to back up, and we might slowly start to see a rotation over to B, but nonetheless, they got Dylan Rex to worry about there in that mid-map.
They certainly do. Now, Dylan Rex is going to find John here, and that strafe does manage to get John out of trouble. Both teams just being a little bit cautious now, but where they're going for it, Jared will be planning down B. They're going to have to hold this defense, but John being alive all the way by train is going to cause him a few problems. Get him out there, but Dylan Rex has a huge pick on a John and gravity taking him down, and he actually went for John as well. That is a disgraceful challenge. I suppose if you're feeling it, you might as well. John going to try and get into this one, but Major Maniac is going to play peekaboo and say absolutely not engaging as Phantoms is going to go down. Maniac takes down John, and that will be round 1.
Huge kills coming in there from Dylan Rex. Wow. Oh, that puts John in definitely the most impossible situation 1v3ing, and then you have the bomb down, but nonetheless, when you got players shooting like that, it's really hard. It's really hard to counter, but nonetheless, now in this UT crew, again, they're looking hot right now. They're definitely looking fire. So now on the counter offensive side, I'm curious to see which way they're going to push.
All right. Let's see how this... And there's going to be a big B hit. So there is that pre-fire that I hate so much in League play. It annoys me so much when we go for it. But with the bottom control here, they've got to be careful because this is always massively contested around Ticket Booth. They will grab control eventually. They're just going to clear it out, make sure, and get that bomb down. Dylan Rex with a great snap onto John. And UT crew are certainly looking like a force to be reckoned with on Express. Jared now going to go for the peak, going to see a player as well, and chooses to take that fight. I suppose in a 2 versus 4 you needed to, but that's an easy round for the UT crew.
Yeah, they are making this look very easy right now. UT crew doing such a good job at just... I mean, Dylan, really, you got him snapping with the AK-74U right now. And just, both two players on that team right now are on a 2 streak. So whether or not they can keep that up, but Easter really have to find a way to answer back in this, as John essentially is on the board. But I didn't want to necessarily say anything, but yeah, it's tough. But I really think that they just have to get their head in the game and push forward. But nonetheless, now hopping on board with John, and it looks like they're going towards that A site once again.
Well, there's a double nade going down. Jared's in a lot of trouble. That trophy is probably going to save his life. Bomb going down very early, and Sib comes straight out. That is huge for Easter. They needed the breathing room. They already got through. Dylan Rex, though, is continuing to do unbelievable things. Oh, my goodness. Sib has just got away by the skin of his teeth. The players going through. They go down. UT crew retake. This is a massacre. Dylan Rex is now 7-1.
You got to shut him down.
Anti-tank bullets. Like, what on earth was that?
You gotta shut him down. He's on a 4 streak now, but he's literally shooting rockets out of his gun. I don't know what that was, but oh my gosh, if I ever come across him in League play, I'm backing out.
I never knew there was a 50 cal attachment for the AKU. That is ridiculous.
Oh, that's insane. But now on the offensive side, I want to definitely watch Dylan Rex and see what he's going to do here, because my goodness, 50 cal attachment attached to that gun. But nonetheless, now UT crew is going to answer back now with the A push, and Easter, they don't have anybody over there, which would probably be quite troublesome. But nonetheless, John does take out Major Maniac, and UT crew again, they do have that trophy on the bomb, and Yeez is getting that plan off. So now Easter has to answer back by collapsing onto this, but now the bomb's down, and they're in a sticky situation, but Sib does manage to take out 2. So now this is looking more favorable for them.
Yeah, Phantoms isn't even pretending like he's going to be able to make this one as well. That first pick, by the way, managing to take him down, that was everything when they got that A push going on. If you get that bomb down on A, it can be a difficult retake, but you need to be able to look in several different directions with the train and the angles you can play around it. you can play it very, very effectively if you've got bombed down. Unfortunately, if you don't have the bodies, there are too many places to watch, and suddenly what's a great holding site because of all the corners becomes your worst nightmare as they all pop out from them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Nonetheless, that was a huge 2-piece there by Sib to shut that down because, you know, they had the bomb down. It looked like they had control, but Easter did a really good job at retaking there. Sometimes, you know, that you take, retake, and that's just that's a strategy when it comes to COD. But nonetheless, now we're going to see both teams. It looks like UT Crew actually has a little bit different strategy here as they have a couple mid, but I think they already recognize that they are pushing A, and you slowly see the rotation from Major Maniac and Yeez rotating over to that bomb site.
Well, Judd going out again. Major Maniac is literally sitting the other side here, and he's finally seen him. Sib, though, will just pick him off as soon as he peeks. Judd, though, going for that plant, now has cover at the same time. This is going to be very difficult for UT Crew to do anything from here. They run straight into Gravity. Gravity finds 2 players, and they're going to shut him down very, very quickly. 3 versus 3 here, as they now try to put the squeeze onto it. 35 seconds left to execute.
Whether or not they can retake here now. Bomb is down. There's 27 seconds left now. Jared, a little bit of contact coming in there from Dylan Rex. Dylan does manage to slide out, and Yee's there to pick up the trade. Beautiful trade coming in from UT Crew now. John left in a 1 versus 3. It's really hard, but he did manage to take out Phantoms now. But still, with 12 seconds left on the clock, he does manage to take another one. But Yee's again with the second trade of that round.
Did he
cleans
get it?
up John, and I'm not sure if he has enough time to get the defuse. He don't think he does. He doesn't. Oh my goodness. What a clutch 2-piece there from DeJohn to solidify that round now. Bringing it slowly back, slowly but surely now. But nonetheless, that was crazy. Oh, man.
They did just enough. Dylan went it in as well. And teammate flew in the back of the train, but just couldn't get there. Like I said, I thought that was super, super close. Weren't able to get it. And Easter fighting their way back into this. Even with the slaying, still massively against them. Judd and Gravity, only 1 kill between them, but 8 deaths. So we're going to see whether or not they can kind of rectify it here and have a little bit of a better game. Because if they do, Easter should take this one easily.
I agree. Got to step it up here. Solidify this win now. But Sib, kind of holding that angle there. Get a couple shots into Dylan Rex, but Yeez is already on that bomb site. I don't think he's actually going for the plant. He is going to back down as Easter does slide in through. Major Maniac does get that kill onto Jerd. Now the 3 go down for Easter, now leaving Gravity again in a very tough situation. And your Gravity, this is really hard to do when you got UT Crew slaying just like that.
Yeah, that was a fast round. There wasn't an awful lot they could really do about it. That Major Maniac just doing great control up top, pre-firing
like
everything
that.
as well, refusing to go down, and then goes, "Oh, I'll challenge the guy mid." There's, you know, Gravity coming out for him, and down he goes.
I kind of like that. Yeah, I kind of like that. Not much you can do when you got UT Crew slaying like that. That was pretty fast. All right.
Let's see if Easter have anything in them though on this attack, because they really need to find a way back from here. From the first hard point, they have already gone down in this series, and Phantom finds a ton of bullets onto Sib. It's not going to work out for them. Joe going to go for this push here with Gravity. Gravity actually does it with a Krig, which is ridiculous considering you've got your AKU Jerd sitting right there, but gets a kill regardless. Now Jerd looking for Phantoms up top. They've managed to clear this out just a little bit. Probably going to be thinking about putting it down, but with Gravity going down as well, and Dylan Rex at the same time, this is now a very difficult situation for Easter.
Yeah, Easter seems to, they're locked in. They're pinched, they're trapped. You got Phantoms here watching that push through, and then now, again, you have Sid, he does get taken out, but UT Crew overall, they collapsed onto that point, and they trapped him, essentially, you know? You had that early shots, and like you said, you got a bunch of hit markers. Kind of gives you information knowing that the team's pushing, right? So UT Crew did a very good job at collapsing onto that point and overall solidifying the round.
Well, Easter are, I don't know how, there aren't many more ways I can say this. It feels a little bit one-sided. The rounds are going very, very fast. they clearly have the advantage pretty much most of the time, UT Crew. You got to remember, John had to pull off a 1v3 clutch to get one of those rounds. Dylan Rex gets the first piece as well. It's Major Maniac going up top. He's done work out here again. He jumps straight on the Jer, but will be traded away. 2 versus 3 now. Yeez gonna have to wait a few seconds. That nade has just slowed him down. Gravity and Sib are both here looking for it. Sib now in a little bit of trouble as well, trying to get out and stay alive, and that trophy comes in clutch. And realistically, UT Crew still got a bit of time to play with, and they're going to use that time to try go B. Problem is, Gravity has seen it.
Yep. And as these pushes go down on the bomb site, he does take down Gravity there. So now this leaves Sib in pretty impossible situation, but doesn't mean he can't necessarily clutch it. But as I say that, he does get taken down. So again, like you said, this is looking very one-sided. UT Crew is playing out of their mind right now, but is it that, or is this just really the loss of Fellow that really kind of affected this Easter team? I really wasn't expecting this, I'm not gonna lie, but nonetheless, they can still bring this back. It's not like we haven't seen a reverse sweep before, right?
No, it certainly isn't. Like we and you got to hope that realistically, that there is more in the bank, that there is something here for Easter to kind of fight back with it, whether they've come in cold or whether it's just having an off game. Vetoes could be any one of a dozen reasons why suddenly they're down 2-0 in this here, but at the same time, that looked pretty cut and dry for UT Crew. They weren't backing down. They had their fights. They knew exactly how they wanted to execute as well. I don't know what to say. Like I said, it would have been even fun.
Yeah.
It would have been a 6-1 if John hadn't pulled off a 1 versus 3.
No, yeah, you're absolutely correct. And I mean, man, Dylan Rex, he was going crazy. Like you said, there's a 50 cal attached to that gun. But no, UT Crew, they're doing a really good job. And even if they had struggles in the past, they clearly did their homework and they're playing so well tonight. Chemistry is just unmatched.
100%. And
yeah,
there isn't an awful lot to really break down in that search and destroy is the biggest problem for me as well, because you're sitting there going, well, they just kept getting first bloods, and when they didn't get first bloods, they suddenly made big trades, and then it was basically over every single time. They went to the site they wanted to, pretty much put the bomb down, and even when we saw Easter do very similar things, they just weren't able to hold on to it as much as they would like. I don't know. Like, I think first bloods were kind of a serious problem for them as well, and we spoke about the first couple of rounds, I think it was 0-2s we saw, and then 2 of their players just really couldn't pick up a kill anywhere either, kept dying. You can't win search and destroy if you're constantly down numerically, and that's basically what it boiled down to. If you don't have the players, you can't win the trades.
You're correct. And especially when you get that first blood, that kind of sets the pace for the game. You make a play off of that. So UT Crew just essentially, they quickly solidified on that, and they just played off of those they made really good play makes from that.
Yeah, they certainly did. Let's have a little catch up though with our maps for this series, because we are getting through them at a prestigious rate. First of all, Raid Hardpoint is coming up, and that was our very first one. It was UT Crew to that 250 to 175. Then we moved on to Search and Destroy Express, and UT Crew took that one as well, 6-2. Coming up next though, Raid Control, then Moscow Hardpoint, and Miami Search and Destroy. Is there a way back here for Easter?
It's looking pretty tough. UT Crew is just playing so well. Their chemistry is looking really good, and if you're Easter, your momentum might be a little bit down right now, but it's really up to them to change it, essentially, right? It's really up to them to just get their head in the game and hopefully just shake off the last 2 maps that just happened and just pretend like this is a fresh series. Win the next 3, bring it to Miami, but is it gonna happen? I personally don't think so. I know that their Miami, essentially in the terms of Easter, has kind of been looking a little bit sloppy, but nonetheless, I think if they work out these issues, they can still fix everything and hopefully build up that chemistry with a new player.
Yeah, we'll see whether or not they can come back into it. That's the big question now. Do Easter have enough to come back and reverse sweep this one? I don't know if that is in fact plausible, considering just how good UT Crew have realistically been. But it's not out of the realms of possibilities, realistically. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen it on Challenges Elite. As soon as they get their vetoes rolling, they get a little bit warmed up, and I will say one thing. I don't think Easter are playing at their full potential regardless, right? Like, it's 100% the point where we expected more out of them. I'm sure there's more they can do here. There's got to be a lot more that they can bring to the table in these games. The Hardpoint, we saw some points of it. We're like, oh yeah, we're seeing a little bit of it come through. This S&D, it disappeared again. It just vanished, unfortunately. We don't know what on earth happened for it, but with Control now coming up and a few long rounds, maybe they can get into the groove and really show us why, for, you know, the three of us here, they were kind of the favorites moving into this one.
Yeah, and it's just teamwork. You know, you have a new player, you have to adapt to certain things, maybe switch some roles up, and you know, I think Easter just needs maybe a little bit more time to do that. But once they do, I think we'll see them back in top form, just like we did in last in stage 2. So nonetheless, again, losing Fellow was huge, but regardless, it doesn't mean they're down, but it doesn't mean they're not out.
No, it certainly doesn't. And I'm curious, because we said before, right? I was speaking about benchmarking these teams. I've always said that's the way I like to judge Call of Duty. It's the way I think about it. And I say, right, well, if they have beaten X, can they beat Y? Where do they fit when we come into this sort of like league structure? Once we start getting 3-4 games in, you can start kind of predicting the rest of them here. With UT Crew potentially on the cusp of 3-0ing this one, it throws a lot of people's predictions out of the window. Of course, it doesn't ruin everything because we've got a ton left to go in Challengers Elite, but also the fact that we've got our playoffs and our knockout bracket to come at the end of it in week 3, meaning that as long as you're top 6, you can still win it. It's just a little bit of a more difficult gauntlet to run, but we will be judging you and seeing what actually works and what doesn't work for these teams moving forward. And the other part is something we definitely haven't spoken about so far, is all your VOD will then be up there in glorious Technicolor with all the maps and the mini maps. You'll know everything that goes on in all the S&Ds and stuff. So it actually becomes a little bit harder as it goes on, because you've now got all this research you can do on the teams you've got coming up in week 3.
Yeah, that's correct. And that's essentially it. You got to do your homework, watch the Technicolor VODs back, and see where you can fix those weak areas. And, you know, like I said, Easter's down, but they're not out. So it's not like they can't still solidify a T6 to carry that into the playoffs in the knockout series. And I believe they can do it. I mean, you have veteran players on that team. And, you know, again, John, he just basically came out of retirement and still rocked it and made challengers. Like, that's an amazing achievement. So nonetheless, down but not out, I really, really do believe that they can still make top 6 for sure.
Well, let's find out how this series is going to end up, as I believe Raid Control is ready to go. Let's jump into this one and see exactly what is going to happen with these two teams. Of course, Easter have a long way back. UT Crew sitting pretty at the moment. They can take this one and take the entire series. We jump on board with Gravity to start.
Yep, and it looks like too from Easter, they're going to make that aggressive push towards B site, and they managed to clear out point. But nonetheless, they got to worry about UT Crew who's spawning in the back. And as you can see, Yeez is actually not, instead of pushing down those stairs, he's going to push through money and try to collapse onto this, peek those pointers. And he does manage to take out John. And there you go. UT Crew does clean it up, but they have to worry about Gravity. And Phantoms gets that last kill. So beautiful break-in from UT Crew. And now they're going to start to get aggressive and push towards their base so they can solidify spawn trap onto Easter.
Oh, look at that. They are all actually pinched in a major way at the moment. That is ridiculous. They've completely collapsed on them here, and Easter are finding serious problems. They've got to try and make a few kills going through, though. Phantoms is going to be holding the cross. Gravity goes into his sights, but he's better in the gunfight. And now you can see UT Crew are trying to punish them here and get as many kills down as they can. And they're doing a great job at it. 24-17 here at the moment, and they haven't even let them look at A.
No. And upon doing so, it looks like Easter is kind of getting that close back left garage like spawn, so they know essentially that UT Crew is pushed up into their base. You have Major Maniac in your base to worry about. Then you got Dylan Rex here, pool stairs, who does manage to take out Sib. Now can he get John? But overall, Easter is trapped bottom house, bottom pool house there, and that's not a good position to be in. But again, now Major Maniac notices that he has to rotate back because Gravity's on the point, but decides to kind of leave him alone and play ring around the rosy here. And Sib and Gravity are actually trying to make some work at A. But overall, Easter kind of played this smart. They have 2 at A, 2 at B to try to maybe split up the team pushes. But nonetheless, UT Crew does clear out A. But Easter set up onto that point, does manage to capture B.
I will say here, I was keeping an eye on the minimap while we were talking, going through that one as well. He's only made 2 kills his entire control round, by the way. Both of them incredibly important to get B. The first one was to break in, the second was to trade it and hold it. So he's managed to do it. Unfortunately, with all that work that has gone down, they only have 5 lives remaining, as they have been pretty much bodied in the slaying department everywhere across this map. And now they've got to play it flawless. 2 kills already going down. They're trying to get through this one as well. Major Maniac is trying to hold them off because he knows this could go very, very badly, but only one break is going to be the problem. Major Maniac trying to find John as well. He's going to be able to get it, but he does eventually go down. It's now a 3 versus 13. Sib goes down, 2 versus 13. And regardless of the fact they now have A, you're just not going to hold it against that many numbers.
Yeah, it's very difficult to do. And UT Crew overall, their slaying power was fantastic. They did everything they needed to do. They got those key kills down, and they pushed up, got aggressive in their base, and essentially just trapped in there, right? They were trapped. And when you get in a situation like that, it's very hard to break. You really gotta. That's where the kind of the teamwork comes in, and you have to play together and work those spawns, clear out the base, and then aggressively push somewhere. But nonetheless, Easter does look like they're kind of falling apart a little bit, but they really, really, really got to start slaying if they want to take down UT Crew.
Well, we'll see if they can do anything here on the defense. A defense is certainly the side you want to be on the majority of the time around B. We see here, though, big execute coming on to A for UT Crew. Let first tick on, give yourself some time, and then try to work B. And with 3 players around here, they should capture this pretty easily. I don't even really see Easter making too dedicated of a push when I say that, and Jared manages to hit the flank. They're coming through at the same time. There are players though in Laundry. He's got to be a bit careful. He's got no backup here. Jared gets another one though and tries to snipe out Laundry. They don't really want to give away too many lives here though.
Yeah, with how UT Crew is slaying, absolutely. But it does look like Sib is going to try to push there through that pillar, but he does get taken down by Yeez. Now Yeez is kind of rotating over here towards the pool side, but nonetheless, he's kind of solidifying that spawn and holding that, trapping Easter essentially at that basketball court. But Easter recognizing this, they're going to push forward and try to maybe get a couple of kills in their base. But Sib now does manage to take down Phantoms, and he does get the second on Major Maniac, but Yeez is there for the trade. Overall, he played very well in the back, just kind of waiting for his teammates to pull a pinch, and now it's UT Crew who's on that B site, and they have to worry about, Easter has to worry about them pushing down these stairs.
They really, really do. Fortunately, though, they've got Jerd actually holding out towards bedroom, and that when you do that, it just makes it very, very difficult because it actually cuts off some of B that you can realistically go to get the time. They've now managed to clear it out, and this is where it's dangerous for Easter because already now they've got coming in and they're going to see Jerd, but I don't know if he's going to get it. He does manage to get Gravity in the end here as well, and they now go on to B. John Lowe is on a killing spree. Trying to hold this one. Big pinch coming in at both sides as well. That is a massive spawn out for the UT Crew. They've done so much work to try and get B control here, and it hasn't played out for them. Easter will clean house. UT Crew have to start again. They are 2 lives down, but more importantly, they don't have any map control, and they have a minute to try and figure this one out.
The minute left, and you have John on a 6 streak right now, so he's definitely gonna try to be aggressive in their base and be a nuisance, but nonetheless, they have Major Maniac that looks like he's calling in the streaks, and John he's on a 7 streak now, does manage to get a kill, but Jerd now anticipating this push as Dylan Rex does push down the stairs, manages to clean up that kill, and now Easter with 2 down. They're going to try to push on to this point, but they do manage to clear everybody out. Now UT Crew still has to worry about John, who's on an 8 streak, but he does get taken down by Yeez. Nonetheless, with 30 seconds left on the clock and 14 lives to 8, Easter's definitely looking a little bit better in this round.
Yeah, that is the glorious thing that is B raid defense. UT Crew did come close a few times, but a few times is unfortunately not winning. They're going to try one last swing of this. Going down the stairs, going to try and find John, who has been playing pretty well so far defending this, but that player has gone down and managed to get the trade. Can they get that player out of bedroom? It's going to be Jerd in mid-map as well. Gravity gets one, and Major Maniac, while he's going to try and get a 2-piece here, they're just not going to be able to get there in time and do anything with it, Ellen.
That was so close there. That nice 2-piece for Major Maniac at the end, but yeah, John was definitely the X factor right there, as he was just kind of being a nuisance in their base on that bottom bedroom, and overall now kind of looking like they're coming alive right here. So that's just the question. Can they keep up that momentum and keep that level of slaying power? But John definitely does need a little bit of help in doing so. But nonetheless, UT Crew on the defending side. See which way this plays out. But you have Easter, who's looking like they're going to be an aggressive 4-man push towards A.
You can see they're going to try and lock this one down early. Some challenges coming in from Pillars. Jared just playing his life and letting his teammates kind of pick that one up as well. John going to try and hold down Zig, and that's very, very easy. To the point here where UT Crew may just try and get a few exit kills. I don't know if they're going to try and go for a big push into this one, considering as well that Phantoms has gone to block off Bedroom, meaning that any of the Easter team will normally spawn towards bottom drive and gym. So they're not going to try and get A back at all because they have lost it. And now Major Maniac going to be playing this Tiki here. Dylan Rex coming in from behind where they're spawning. And you can see... Oh, Dylan Rex. They just managed to hold it off. It's this B defense. Yep. It's so difficult to break it as a team. If you don't manage to actually get something going early on and get the trades and keep it tricky, you just can't really do an awful lot because a single player can push you out. The spawn is miles and you've got to clear everything again. Judd picks up a 2-piece. He needs his teammates to get in a position for it already with gravity going down. Jerk can't do anything. He's now stuck in Tiki. There's not an awful lot he can do. Sid, though, trying to get through. Major Maniac actually ends up bringing in the artillery for it. Follows it up with a crit kill. And again, we go back to this reset. Easter have to try and dig through this defense.
Those were huge kills, and there you go. UT Crew just does manage to take out 3 now, and this is a very sticky situation for Easter. Those were huge kills in Kitchen, essentially. Jared got a 2-piece in the front. Those Kitchen kills from John, and I believe it was Sib there. They needed to get those to break onto the point, but nonetheless, now UT Crew, with a minute left, do manage to hold this bedroom side and solidify the spawn. And then you have Major Maniac over on the art side, who now might come in contact here with John, but John does manage to clean him up. But Easter, it's going to be interesting to see how they collapse onto this point. Essentially, they either need to go around and maybe back laundry. As you can see, John slowly making his way there on the flank. But when you give up mid-map, it's really hard to essentially to come on that point. But nonetheless, you got Dylan Rex there, who does get taken out now by Jerd. So now Easter has a chance to come alive onto this.
Well, they've got to make one more wave of kills. That's the difficulty here. Jerd's going to try and take on Tiki straight away. Eventually goes down. John actually drops his artillery to try and break this at the same time. Unfortunately, they're just not winning the trade as well. Sigma ended up trying to take on Phantoms here in basketball. Not going to happen. That close kill is going to go forward. Jerd makes one at the same time. John gets shut down in the kitchen, and they just basically have to try and die for it without getting any of these actual gunfights. I'm not sure it's going to work for them, and they are going to fail to get their attack either. UT Crew now up 2-1, but Easter have the defense.
Yeah, they had a couple of chances there, it looked like, to solidify a B, but it's just those gunfights, right? That's where the slaying power comes in hand. And you know, Jared essentially he cleared out the front, but when your teammates are working the pinch and they didn't win those gunfights in the kitchen, it's really hard. Like you said, you just left alone. You know, and you have all 4 players, the UT Crew respawning essentially closed on that basketball, and it's a tough situation to be in. But if Easter want to come back alive into the series, they definitely need to start slaying right now. UT Crew is just doing such a good job at shutting them down, working together, and getting those trades. Getting traded kills is just so important. And UT Crew, you always see them running in packs. You always see somebody there to clean up a kill.
Yeah, we do. Well, on board to see if UT Crew can end this here. Technically, they're on match point, and they've got 3 players on the B. This is going to be a fast stack. Now let's get through. Major Maniac could try and hold their mid as well. If he gets that pull stairs control in any fashion, they're going to be in serious trouble. That B is going up very fast. Phantom finds one. There's no more come through. Money Yeez gets that at the same time, and with 2 getting it, they have secured B. Most of the time when we see this happens, holding A is a nightmare. Essentially, Easter now have to hold it for over 2 minutes, and to do this successfully, you basically have to push out both sides and not break once. It is a nightmare. 2 minutes of hell coming for Easter.
This is very hard to do. Just like you said, it's going to be 2 minutes of hell, but not impossible. They're just really going to have to play perfectly. And now you have John hopping on board with him, kind of just making sure no one's pushing through that mid. You don't want to give up mid-map. And, you know, sometimes you see teams doing that. You never want to give up mid-map control. So John, as he kind of locks this down here, and, you know, you have UT crew who are actually all set up there into art, but John manages to run away with his life. But now the streaks come in from Yeez. Now that's 3 down for UT crew. The lives in favor of them, only by 3, but nonetheless, now Sib. It's hard. It's hard to break this when they're stacking it, but nonetheless, they do manage to get a tick and clear off the point.
Oh my
now
goodness.
Easter answers back. Oh, there's only 1 tick left. I don't know if they can do this, but it's looking more and more promising as they kind of push up a little bit and get aggressive into their base.
They should have done it there. They had 4 players on it. I cannot believe Sib has managed to thread the needle and get 2 kills to manage to hold them off. UT crew, though, pulling up more kills here again. They're going to have to try and hold it. It's gravity to try and hold them off. Now they've got that bad spawn. When you spawn back jungle, you basically have to run through these choke points. It's why it's so difficult to hold, eh? And UT crew will eventually take this 3-1, and they take the series 3-0. We were not predicting that before this series started.
Nope. No, I honestly don't know what to say. They just were doing everything that they needed to do. UT crew slayed out so well. And, you know, Easter, again, down but not out. They just need to have a little bit more time maybe to just work on some chemistry, watch some VODs back, do their due diligence, and hopefully get it together for the next game.
So, Tun, you were wrong.
I think we were all kind of wrong, though, weren't we, to a certain degree? We definitely were feeling an Eastern win, but I mean, that couldn't have been further from it, if I'm honest. But how well played was that by UT crew across the board? Everybody really chipped in where they needed to, and I mean, that's a 3. It wasn't even just a 3-0; it was a pretty comfortable 3-0, all things said. So, big win for them. But as you said, Bryce, it's all about sort of getting a bit of a limit test from some of these teams to try and sort of judge up where they are. There's so many roster changes that have gone on that it's really hard to say which teams are really going to go through and perform well on the day.
Yeah, and it turns out today it's UT crew. There was great execution across not only the search and destroy but the control as well, and that's the problem, right? It's raid can be a mind game as well, because you know a lot of the time they're going to go A. You want to contest it as much as possible. A lot of these games don't really end on raid, with the team being spawn trapped and never able to get to one of the sites. But you can't give away B. You absolutely cannot give away B early. It's such a difficult thing to actually end up holding. And I said it there, you know, I said it's 2 minutes of hell. It's because it's so stressful. You know, if you get the wrong spawn or if you lose a couple of trades, you're basically in a terrible scenario. As soon as you start spawning towards back laundry, back jungle, anywhere in that area, you spawn basketball, you're also in a nightmare scenario. You're basically never going to be able to get it back. You have to run through into ring, which is essentially just all chest high cover. There's just rocks, there's concrete blocks, there's people could be on the statue, could be art, pillars, anywhere. It's a complete nightmare to hold, which is why a lot of teams will just give it up. They just go, no, we'll give up and we'll hold B for 2 minutes. And then you saw them, especially with an artillery coming in. I just don't know what more they could have done, Tom.
It's one of those. We've seen it in the European side of things. If you can hit that B quick and get a hold of it, you don't guarantee in yourself the round, but you're putting yourself in a really nice spot. And it's not a tactic that is difficult to do. There's many times that teams will catch other teams off guard by hitting that 4-man B, and we know in control this year you can really take it up very, very quickly. If there's a few of you there, if you get a nice clean break, that's it, it's done. And so all of a sudden the round does become significantly easier, and that was that. Well played to the UT crew.
No, it certainly was well played. I'll ask you this one here. Does this change our estimation of UT crew and where we put them in our sort of soft power rankings? Because we're not really power ranking because there is literally a league table, but does this change where we kind of put them?
Just a little bit, yes. You know, but honestly, when I don't know, it's COD. It's so hard to tell, but like they still have some hard competition to go against, and you got NYSL, who is just, you know, again undefeated. So that's the stage 1 champions. So as long as you keep playing like that, I think they'll be just fine. But it's really hard to tell. It is. You just never know. You really.
That is true. There's an awful lot to kind of digest and
a roster
break down.
change might happen. I don't know. Another roster change might happen before
It could
next week.
happen
I
in
don't know.
any moment.
Yeah, it could be happening now.
Yeah.
Speaking of happening now, I believe we're actually going to jump into a different game. I believe it's LAG Academy versus Built by Gamers. And I believe also Built by Gamers are up 2-1 in this one, Ton.
I mean, you asked me the question. I've seen as much of the game as you have. I was busy concentrating on the game, and you guys had up there. Yeah, okay. So if they're 2-1 up, it's sort of judging where some of these teams are at against each other. You look at both of these rosters, both very storied players on both sides of the coin. So interested to see who can come out on top. I know both of them not necessarily doing the greatest so far, so it could be a big win for one of these two teams if they do get a hold of it.
Well, I tell you what, we haven't really seen this game, so let's catch up on what the maps are for it, and that should give us a little bit of a better thing. It's not versus lag, sorry, it's against Triumph. So Built by Gamers took the first Hardpoint, 250-2-0. Triumph fired back with Moscow Search and Destroy 6-4. And then with a raid control, 3-0, Built by Gamers apparently sweeping them on that one. The respawns clearly in their favor so far. If we continue, which we are, Checkmate Hardpoint is up next, and we could be finishing on an Express Search and Destroy. Ellen, between these two teams, which way are you leaning?
Oh, well, BBG, we know they've been together for a while. We know that they had an amazing reverse sweep last night, and it looks like by this game, they're winning their respawns. So if they win this hard point, that's 3-1 win. And against a team like Triumph, you know, you have General, who is a new addition essentially to this team, because I believe this was the higher team. And, you know, Triumph, I'm not discrediting them at all, because I know that they're a strong team. And, you know, when you look at both of these two rosters, it's really it's hard to say. But with how well that BBG has been playing last night, and it looks like even in this game that they're winning their respawns, I think I'm going to say BBG on this one, just on this game. But Triumph nonetheless, you know, like I said, with that addition to General, and Zodic has been looking really well playing with this squad. I know I think they had a little bit of struggles when they teamed with Zinx a little bit, but nonetheless, I think BBG is going to win this one.
Yeah, okay, I can see that one as well. I'll tell you something, I'm looking forward to seeing General play, because all that my Twitter feed has been full of over the last part of the weeks is him absolutely frying. So we're going to take a little dive into it and see what is happening on the Checkmate Hardpoint between these two teams. Of course, Built by Gamers, this is technically their series point here.
Yep, series point. So the pressure's on for a little bit for Triumph, but nonetheless, I still think they're a really good team, you know, so it doesn't mean they're down, but they're not out yet. So nonetheless, here we go. Hopping on board with Royalty. And, you know, for this first kill, of course, it's always a contest till the shots come in. But General does manage to take out Kismet, so leading that opening kill, and Royalty does follow up on that kill of Pentagram. So Triumph overall looks like they're having a really good start leading the series, but they're going to slowly have to start to worry about that rotation towards the P2 hill.
Well, Roddy, just trying to hold it and make sure they get as enough time off this as possible. I've always said one of the things you got to keep an eye on in Hardpoint especially is if you are going to struggle to get that rotation to P2, which is an awful lot of maps, squeeze P1 for all it's worth. Try to get as many points as possible to kind of deflect any loss you're about to take when you can't get through. But Mayhem is going to try and make this play here. Already going straight through under plane. Maybe going to try, but Gunner X will end up shutting him down. And as soon as the team has pretty much set up for this one, it is a nightmare to try and get through for at the same time. But Royalty looking towards back Finn. Can he find a hole?
Now, Built by Gamers having control over this point, Triumph is really going to have to work together as a team to collapse onto this hill. And slowly you're going to start to see the push come through as Pentagram does manage to get some shots into there to Mayhem. But two manage to squeeze by as you have Mayhem and Royalty in the back. But Built by Gamers overall clearing up those kills and still have control over to this point, right? Essentially now with 30 seconds left on the clock, they did a really good job at holding that and looking a little bit scary there for Triumph as they try to fly in a little bit, but nonetheless probably start to give that up a little bit as they start to work that underneath the plane. Built by Gamers overall just doing a really good job at slaying right there.
Yeah, they certainly are, and there's nowhere for Triumph to really end up breaking through. Kismet just locking things down there as we go towards this next rotation. Trying to get out of this P2 that they wanted so much just a few seconds ago. Now they won out. They want to try and contest this at the same time. Pentagram, he's going to manage to get through here just for a second. Doesn't know exactly where Mayhem is. Goes for the pre-fire, but does get shut down as well. And Built by Gamers are being rebuffed across the board. Triumph are holding on to this one for all it's worth.
Yeah, and they got some good time here now and a pretty good setup. They got 2 playing and 1 over on that street side. As Pander, though, does take down Mayhem, and Zotic does drop as well. So now Built by Gamers has control over to this point, but Triumph nonetheless still has that street side control and essentially set up for the next hill. But Pander, I was watching that man go off last night, so I'm really curious to see if he could keep that slaying power going crazy today with that 1.6 KD. Nonetheless, now Built by Gamers overall getting the kills onto the Triumph, not necessarily getting a lot of time, but still the lead isn't too far behind as they start to rotate towards that street side, and Built by Gamers have to worry about GodRX there on the rotation. Excuse me, Triumph.
Well, Exotic now just waiting this one out. He knows he needs reinforcements. He does not want to consider challenging this until somebody can get his trade. He's doing it very slowly. Eventually goes for the peak against Pentagram. Just not able to get anything going. Roddy trying to get plane free and clear. Not happening either. Built by Gamers. Just all purple in the kill feed. And that's got to be a good feeling, especially since they've just flipped them out as well. They flipped them out for the next hill.
This BBG squad, time and time again, you see them. I feel like every time I watch them, they get better and better and better. Kismet right now, 12-4, just absolutely going massive. And now BBG is set up onto that next rotation. But Mayhem does cross-map Pentagram there. But BBG, the trades come in, and overall, they still have the spawns for that new point. And you have Kismet, who's already sitting pretty into the new hill, and Triumph gotta answer back somehow and collapsing onto this rotation. But overall, this is really hard when you got BBG going off right now. Every single player on their team is just doing everything right, and you got Pander on a 7 streak.
Has he got that streak as well? I'm fairly certain
Yeah,
no, he did. He has
streak.
the second one at the same time. I was going to say, he should definitely have it on 7 kills. Now on 8 as well. And he was playing around playing for that for quite a while. Fortunately, he managed to hold it. Problem is, Royalty has managed to hit a flank here. He's certainly going to be able to take down Pentagram and try and open the door for his teammates. They have wrested control away. And they're looking for an Exotic. Big snapshot there. But you can see why he's 15-7 and has streaks.
Huge kill coming in there from Royalty, but not necessarily able to solidify any points onto that, as Built by Gamers do have that playing control. But now you're going to slowly start to see that rotation over to the new point, and Pentagram, a couple shots in coming in on Exotic, but nonetheless, looks like they've managed to get that scrap time and all that hill time there, and this is looking pretty scary. This is looking really scary if you're Triumph, but they have to answer back onto the second rotation of hills.
Well, there's a long road back for Triumph in this one, and you're going to ask yourself whether or not they can make it. Mayhem not having a great game. 6 kills coming into this second set of rotation. That is not a good pace to try and come back forward. You already see GodRX putting more shots down as well. That hardpoint has been locked in. Right now, Built by Gamers do not have the rotation, but they probably don't care.
Not with streaks. It looks like Pander does call in a couple that he does manage to take out Royalty, but like you said, they don't necessarily care. They're getting all this time onto the hill. They're getting the kills. But Triumph, they really need to set up here and hold all of this time and basically play perfect hardpoint here if they want to bring this back. But nonetheless, it looks like they're pushing up a little bit to try to maybe get some scrap time, but Built by Gamers is there to answer back. And now Kismet calling in the streaks. Like you said, they don't really care. They all have streaks at this point. They're just doing an incredible job at slaying. And here you're going to slowly start to see the collapse come into the point now, as Built by Gamers still leading with a huge deficit, Grace.
Yeah, and that's now the issue for this one. I've spoken about it before when we speak about Hardpoint. The advantage to Built by Gamers is not just purely in points. It's the fact they can pretty much pull out any strategy they want to. If they want, they can hard force this and go for the late and then try to get back out of it. They can do it on multiple hills. They can fight for the scrap. They can early rotate. Unfortunately, Triumph do not have that luxury. They basically have to try and squeeze every single point out they can out of every single hard point, which means they both need the scrap and the rotation, something that's basically impossible to do. Even with Built by Gamers getting 16 seconds here, they're like, well, that's 16 more. Really close to actually ending up winning this game. And I just don't know. I just don't know if on a map like Checkmate, Triumph can come back from this far behind.
Yeah, and the pressure's on for Built by Gamers. You know, don't let the record fool you. They were down essentially 0-3, right? But they had a huge win last night, and it looks like, you know, at this rate, they're gonna have a huge win right now, solidifying the series. But Built by Gamers, the fire is lit for them, and they are playing out of their mind right now. But Triumph answering back a little bit, does have control over this point, but it's just so scary when you have BBG just slaying like this. 2 down now go for Triumph as Pander just staying alive into this point, and it's looking closer and closer just for a win for Built by Gamers as they have 25 seconds left onto this point and only pretty much can soak up all this time to win. But Zodic answers back with a huge 2-piece, kind of coming alive a little bit, but it's just looking more and more impossible as this game goes on.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Pentagram, if you wanted to, could probably try and pick up a few points here, tick them ever closer, but they're not going to be too worried about it. Pentagram just playing around the hill. He can do, tries to fly out. Wide pick now for Exotic, and gets that kill at the same time, continuing to do work on Built by Gamers. Now the rotation coming in, of course, for Street. And you can see, even though there is a big fight being put up by Triumph, they are trying desperately to fight this one to the bitter end. I just don't know when this game will end, but Built by Gamers will pretty much be the winner unless something magical happens.
Basically, Triumph needs to play perfect hardpoint. Every rotation, every kill. They can't afford a second to lose, and it's really hard to do. I'm not sure if Built by Gamers even has any more streaks left. I think they might have one, but nonetheless, Zodic right now is trying to answer back. It's hard when you got Panda right there in your face, and Kismet cleaning up that kill on Mayhem. 10 seconds left on the clock. They can essentially win off of this hill right here, right now. They just need to keep them trapped in their spotted Pander.
No.
3 down right there. Built by Gamers close out that series, and that's a huge win for them because they needed that.
Yeah, they really did. But this is a big case in point, right, by the way, about how difficult it is to come back. Built by Gamers almost flipped the spawns out. Triumph had to hold them. Like, the Triumph had to go all the way around. They had to make sure they pushed them out. And then Panda comes through, kills what Exotic off of hill, and they can just never get back to it. Like, that's the thing. You can just make that single play. 14 seconds left to go. Not a lot you can do. Triumph had to try and spin so many plates to stay in that game that eventually one was going to fall and they were going to lose. But Ton, you were watching that with us. It was a little bit one-sided.
That's just convincing, isn't it? I think, you know, when we look at Built by Gamers' record and how things have worked out for them, realistically, they have had some very, very tough opponents all the way through up until this point, and showing that they are a class above a team like Triumph. Very, very well played. I think Panda just, again, lighting it up on the challenger side of things. I laughed at Octane's tweet saying he looks really good whenever he isn't playing with me, which is unfortunate for Seattle Surge last year, of course, but still, nonetheless, Panda looking good so far.
Well, I will say at this point, Ton, me and Ellen couldn't hear you, but I'm sure the stream heard every single word of that one.
The stream got the point. I made a fantastic
You look like
point,
you're
don't
into
worry.
it. That's from our point of view. You look like you were having a good time explaining that one moving forward. But Ellen, we were talking about this game going into it as well. Were you expecting to see that on the hard point?
Honestly, no, because I know Triumph. Maybe they're just having a bad day. They just recently won the second Open too, so I know this team is really, really good. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you have a bad day, and it again, down but not out. I know I've been saying that all night, but I just want to reiterate here that, you know, this is just group play. Essentially, the last 2 teams get relegated. So as long as they're not, they're fine. Essentially, you want to win next week in week 3 in the finals. So overall, I wasn't necessarily expecting that, but on the flip side, BBG, since their game last night against that Fantastic Four, they've been looking great. Pander has been slaying out of his mind and completely flipped the script watching that series.
Yeah, 100% has as well. And of course, if you are joining us here, we can take a little look at our schedule to catch you up, not only the games that we have seen, but the games that we are going to see. If you joined us right from the beginning, well, then we love you because it's been a long haul so far already. Elevate took down August 3-1, and Amelia Strays defeated Elevate in the subsequent game 3-0. That was our EU region. Of course, we flew over to North America, and it's UT Crew taking down Easter in our very first game. And coming up next, we are going to have LAG Academy versus Built by Gamers. So we can see whether or not Built by Gamers are on a little bit of a roll after we just ended up seeing their first one as well. I have been told as well, by the way, that I believe Built by TMNT, which I'm going to trip over that about a million times tonight, are currently facing LAG Academy. That has gone to a game 5. So we'll find out who the winner of that one as well. But I suppose we can play the wonderful game ourselves. Ton, predictions. Who wins a game 5?
Oh, I'm gonna go LAG Academy. Honestly, I feel as if this roster will start to get better over time. Mox has just come into that one. We know that Mendel is a player who's going to continue as time goes on to get better and better as well. So I think they'll start adapting. I think it'll happen pretty quickly. I think Mox coming in, I think they make that change.
All right, okay. Ellen, do you agree or not agree?
You know, I do. I kind of agree with that because I myself had the wonderful opportunity in Advanced Warfare to play with Mental, and I know what he brings to the table. I know he's a really, really good player. He did it in Gears, and he's clearly doing it in COD, something he's done time and time again. So overall, they took UT Crew last map, LAG Academy. So if us just watching that game, you kind of look at the spectrum of UT Crew and TMNT, and I think they're going to take it. Honestly, I really do. But again, can't count out TMNT because they had some, a roster filled with veteran players. Parasite, time and time again, who has always had the struggle with teams. And I know it's hard to keep up with the rosters, but nonetheless, LAG Academy have been doing their work. And although they did lose Chino, they have Mox now, who essentially is still a good player, and he's been playing really well with his team. So I agree with Ton on that, and I think they're going to take it.
All right. Well, the last score update I had was probably about a minute ago now. Well, I'd ignore that because I've been updated just now to find out. LAG won 6-3 in that final one, so they're going to win the series 3-2. So predictions all round correct there for you guys. You can just have a nice pat on the back. It's probably the first time we've got a prediction right all night, to be fair. But while we're riding high, let's go to a quick break. When we come back, though, we'll have the rest of our games in our North American region. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to Call of Duty Challengers Elite. We are here in the North American region for our second game that is about to occur live on stream. LAG Academy about to take on Built by Gamers to see who comes out on top. Of course, joined by my colleagues once again, Ellen and Ton. Ellen, how are you?
I'm good. That last game that we just watched was really exciting. It's just another day of COD, Bryce. So overall, I'm really good, and I'm excited to see this matchup between BBG and LAG.
Yeah, me too as well. Ton, how about yourself?
I'm great, mate. I've got a coffee. It's 2:45 in the morning. Oh, well, I could actually show you. Show you whilst we're here, completely unrelated. Here's my cup. All right. It says, look, you ready? It says, yes, dear. And then you turn it around and it says, no, dear. I'm delirious. Get on with the show. I'm sorry.
Well, now that tangent is done, let's move on to some more serious matters of everything that's happening here. And that was... I mean, that is... You've derailed everything.
It's a funny
everything. We were having a good time. You know, I was going to say...
We couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
One time.
I was gonna say, you know, unfortunately we've got some great Call of Duty to wake you up, but then you've broken my tempo with a terrible cup. And I never thought that's not something I ever thought would happen on an esports show that I get so distracted. It's a cup. It's not great or bad, realistically. It's just something you're currently drinking your coffee out of.
Show the stream your glass that you drink.
I have a reasonable cup, okay? I have a reasonable cup. It's reasonable. And you should never drink on broadcast, so we've already got on a tangent for this one. So I know it's late, but we've broken basically every rule of broadcasting that we can possibly do on the intro for the second one. So let's get us back on track. We're going to take a look now into these maps. And it is, of course, going to be Raid Hardpoint to kick things off. Then Miami Search and Destroy, Raid Control, Apocalypse Hardpoint, and Express Search and Destroy if we get that far. And you know what? I do love watching a bit of Apocalypse Hardpoint, but I feel like every time I say that, I never actually get to see it. So let's hope we get to map 4 and see if it gets to that point. But do we think it's going to get there? LAG Academy versus Built by Gamers. Ellen, who's coming out on top?
I'm just gonna say Built by Gamers. You know what? I don't want to say this. I don't know. Maybe we don't know. I'm just gonna say BBG. After just watching that one map against Triumph, I think they're just looking really hot right now, and a lot is on the line for them, so they can't lose. I think they're gonna take it. They're on fire. They've been playing really well tonight. The slaying power in terms of every single player has been on point, and I think that's just gonna carry over into this game.
Okay, all right. Well, very bold prediction there. Seemed pretty confident. Ton, do you agree?
I think it's hard to say, to be honest with you. Both these two teams haven't necessarily been doing as well as they possibly would have liked. I kind of have them in the same sort of spot at this moment in time. And again, it's another one of those tests to sort of see where we are with some of these teams. But things have been getting better for them both, and let's see if things are going to continue to get better for one of them, of course. But I mean... It is very, very difficult to say. I'd probably lean Built by Gamers, but it's hard to actually differentiate for me.
All right. Well, I suppose that kind of leaves us at the point where we're just going to have to find out for ourselves and see what actually ends up happening in this game. Raid Hardpoint to kick it off. Built by Gamers versus LAG Academy. Our casters for this one, Ton and Ellen, take it away.
Thank you very much, Brycey. I think you handled the cup moment quite well, actually. I was expecting more ridicule, Ellen, but you know, we got to keep things spicy at this time in the morning. You know what? I thought the cup was funny as well. Besides the point, though, in this one, it is, of course, going to be LAG Academy taking on Built by Gamers. As mentioned, we did see Built by Gamers take that map to close out their series against Triumph, which is an impressive win for them. Some of their losses have coming up against some of the strongest opposition in North America. Can they get it done here against LAG Academy? 2 stacked rosters here, Ellen. Which way are we thinking? It's hard to say, isn't it?
Indeed it is. And in terms of that now, you have LAG Academy, who looks like they're on the point, but Kismet coming there and taking down 2. Now, it's like that they're going to have to worry about that P2 hill. Got our X here coming along the pool stairs to spot 1. Now Exceed he has to worry about him there on the flank. But nonetheless, you're going to slowly start to see BBG push into this point, and overall, LAG Academy has control.
They've got control of the spawns, but not quite control of the point. But looking at the spawns coming in from Built by Gamers here, they do well to lock this one in. Nero is able to find one. Can he find a couple more? Yeah, oh my goodness me, that's big kills coming out from Nero. Now the rest of the team can come through the middle of the map, and he's held it all on his own. 9 and 2 after 2 hills, and that is huge plays out of Nero. 51 and rising for them. Mental will find a kill as well. Very well played by Built by Gamers. Looking like they may well be broken here in a second, but Nero's still on 4 spree. Make that a 5 spree. Is he going to give it a 6th as well? Not quite. I don't know if Kismet didn't have the help of Pentagram there, where they would have found that kill, but my goodness. What a start by Built by Gamers.
Now, Mental holding down
it's
this
flipped
full
around,
push.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I know, I was thinking to myself, I was like, hold on. Yeah. What a great stuff from LAG Academy.
Thought LAG was purple there, but no, it's actually Built by Gamers, that is, and now LAG Academy does have control over to this point. You're going to slowly see the push coming in from Built by Gamers, and the question is whether or not they can break this hill, but it's really hard when you got LAG now getting those important kills, slaying out, and now GodRx is left alone here at the wait side, having to wait for his teammates to push down towards that middle.
There we go. Still trying to hold here. LAG eventually, and it's going to be Built by Gamers getting in. It's confusing because on our feed it's the wrong way around, but on your guys' feed it's perfect. So I do apologize for the momentary lapse, but here we go. LAG with a solid lead. They'll be happy with that. Continuing kind of off where they left it in their previous game, but Built by Gamers trying to get back into this one. Difficult for them right now, about a 40-point difference.
But not impossible. But on the side of LAG Academy, they're doing a really good job at slaying out here. Now, question is, can Built by Gamers break this point as they flood on through the front now? Important kills coming in as Mox does take down 2. Now, Mental does get the trade, but it's Built by Gamers that essentially get the kills now. Nero left alone. Panda does manage to clean him up. Now, it's 20 seconds left on the point, and they're going to have P1 to worry about, or excuse me, the Tree Hill to worry about, the P5 rotation, and overall now Built by Gamers looking to come back alive into the series.
Yeah.
15 seconds left on this hill.
It's a good rotation. They've done well, and considering what happened after P2 and how far behind they were, things aren't necessarily looking too bad. But now time for the side of LAG Academy to try and get that lead that they had that was so substantial back. Got a good chance to do here over towards P5. Nero has slowed down ever so slightly, but still at 14 and 7. It's an impressive start in rotation number 1. But Panda now coming from the stairs. Can he do anything here for Built by Gamers? Not quite going to work out this time around. Kismet. LAG Academy can't quite find enough kills to get something going here. Or can he? As Morks finds 1, but it is going to be Pentagram surviving as best he can. It's going to be Built by Gamers breaking on through.
Built by Gamers, if they hold every single second of this point, they will bring the deficit closer and closer to having a lead change here. But Built by Gamers is set up onto P1. As you notice, GodRx, it's kind of getting that laundry control, that raid side control now. And now Built by Gamers have that early rotation, and they're going to slowly start to see LAG Academy flood through garage side here in Art. And the kills start to come in, and now Kismet cleans up that kill on Exceed. Managed to take 2 down, but GodRx does get taken down by Mox as BBG overall do a very good job at slaying and getting those kills, and Pentagram kind of roaming around the middle, just trying to be a nuisance. Gonna slowly start to see LAG Academy start to flood in, and question remains whether or not they can break this, but overall they managed to take 2 down, and 40 seconds left on this time. They're gonna have to start worrying about that rotation, of course.
Yeah.
But LAG did a really good job at cleaning up these kills and getting control over this.
Well, here we go. Built by Gamers are the ones with this rotation. No, oh, it can't quite break it through. But looking towards P2, that's exactly where you want to be if you're Built by Gamers. LAG now find themselves behind, which is quite incredible considering how big of a lead they had after 2 hills. Just scrapping way inside the hill. The LAG to get some form of control. And they can do with the points, and they can try and force their way through here. But look at the spawns coming towards the back for Built by Gamers. They should be able to look this in, but Nero trying his best to try and get up close and personal here. But the ARs of Built by Gamers looking solid at the moment to try and keep them away. Mox around the back, though. Can he cause some damage? There's one. Looking for a second, but the rest of his team falling. In that scenario, you need to try and stay alive. Mox has found himself in such a good spot.
With his teammates dying right there, it's a good spot, but also very, very scary as he's left alive on the back and alone. And now Exceed does manage to get that trade on him, but overall, the ARs in terms of BBG is looking so well right now. And looks like LAG Academy just decided, hey, you know what? Let's give this up. Let's rotate to the new hill. And although they do manage to get the scrap time there as Nero does win that gunfight, but overall, it looks like actually now on the control over this is GodRx is gonna have to break on through here as he has Exceed and Mox to worry about.
It's difficult, isn't it? Hard position to get people off. Good shots from Mox. And we haven't really seen much from him since really, I mean, not a great deal last year, did we really? And Black Ops 4 was the last time we seen him really at the top of his game. 21-12 here, though. The LAG Academy trying to get them back into this one, and they can get back into this one with a good hold here. 30 seconds remaining. Mental. Pop that corner. No 3Ping on this game, my friend. But still. And he's another player a lot of people expected to really crack on immediately. That's why LAG picked him up, expected that World Championship mentality from the gear side of things to transition over. Maybe hasn't happened as quickly as they would have liked, but still playing at a very high level considering his transition over happened so suddenly. Shots going to start coming on through though, and these trades will just about go in the favor of Built by Gamers now. They're not going to be able to lock in the basketball hardpoint, but it's a tight game. You would say advantage to Built by Gamers as they have this spawn locked down.
Yep, now the push is slowly going to start to come through from LAG Academy in the back here as you have Panner to worry about, who has just been playing out of his mind the last couple of days. And now they're going to slowly start to flood in LAG Academy. 30 seconds left on this point. The time deficit is really getting close, but Nero trying to do some damage here as he does take down Pentagram now. But overall, BBG still has control. Nero is alone, but his teammates is spawning around in the back. Kismet does clean him up now. You got to worry about Mental, who is actually looks like he's going to rotate over, and Mox does manage to clean up those kills, and they broke that hill. But is it enough to maybe have a lead change here into the next rotation as you have Nero sitting pretty on the point?
They're inside the point, but Mox got really, really bad timing there. He just turned around, and are they going to know the push from Kitchen's going to be coming? Yes, they do. Mox finds one. Nero helps him with the second as well. Can he find any more? Yes, he does. But GodRx is there to trade. But eventually it is Mendel. The last one inside. LAG Academy here. The one's currently getting the points. Can they find any kills here? Mox finds one. Staying alive is paramount. Needs to be able to help his team out. The time is ticking. 15 seconds away now for LAG Academy. The kills coming through for them as well. Built by Gamers have got to go, and they got to go from multiple different angles. GodRx from one angle. Kismet from the other. What is that hipfire? My goodness me, Kismet staying alive inside the hill. It's back and forth between these two. Both can just about still win here. It's still possible from Built by Gamers on this hill. Not long to go. Can they keep them out? It's one more big push. 7 seconds left to go. Make that 5 for LAG Academy. Built by Gamers, though 3 seconds, 2 seconds away. Are they going to be able to lock this in? Pentagram all on his own. Have they contested for long enough? Yes, they have. The rotation over. It's still going to be there for Built by Gamers. And what a very tight end to that game. 250 to 242. A great map, number 1.
Indeed, and you know what? Good job right there. Good job. You know what? even though they can see something different, we had the teams flip there the whole entire time. So it did say LAG won on our screen, but Built by Gamers clutched up right there when it mattered, and they did such a good job at solidifying that. And yeah, I mean, that was a really close game. Nothing really special there. I think both teams just kind of took turns as far as trading back and forth and rotating, and overall, they're pretty evenly matched.
I mean, it comes down to Kismet getting that break on through. Hopefully, we are going to be able to see that again. I think it was the hip fire on, obviously, a very weak player towards the garage side of Courtyard. Still, you know, we get a really good moment there from Kismet, but nonetheless, really, really well played by Billboard Gamers to try and get back into it. But I think if you're LAG Academy in that scenario, you're a little bit disappointed just for the fact that you had such a good lead at the beginning of the game, and you kind of let it go to waste there.
I agree. It's tough, especially when, like you said, you have a huge lead, you lose that lead, and it kind of messes with your momentum. But hopefully they can just shake that off and into the search and destroy, kind of come into it like it's a new game. But nonetheless, BBG, they really do clutch up when it matters, and time again we see that from them. So I'm not really surprised. You know what I mean? I'm really not, just because they're every single player on that team is just such a clutch factor.
Oh yeah, they played that very, very well, and I think it just comes down to that last flurry of kills. You know, outside of that beginning of the game where it was back and forth, etc., it did come down to the point of where it was a case of rotate, picking up a lot of points, rotate, pick up a lot of points for the other team. It was very much back and forth, but let's have a look at the maps that we are going to be playing throughout the rest of the series. And what we are definitely going to see, next is Miami Search and Destroy. Raid Control will be coming up third, and we may need Apocalypse and Express afterwards as well. Two newer maps to the rotation, of course. Haven't seen too much of Apocalypse, really. It's not a huge pick generally, or what we have seen on stream at least anyway. Express is, though, it is a busy one. So interested to see if we do get to that point. But are we going to get to that point, though, Ellen? That is the question.
So,
I think we might.
Yeah. What do you think, huh? I usually get asked first. What about you? What do you think? Do you think, I know both of us kind of said, well, BBG, but do you think that maybe LAG Academy has what it takes to bring it maybe to a map 4, map 5?
I think they do. I mean, based on what we've seen from that map number 1, you would absolutely think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It was a very, very close game, and it really could have went either way. It comes down to a couple of kills left and right, and then essentially from that point we see that the game is won on off one flurry of kills. So you can't necessarily count out LAG by any stretch of the imagination. Here, of course, we're into a completely different game mode. Very, very strategic map of Miami, of course. It's mostly about the air hit, but which way you're going to do it. Of course, we've seen some interesting tactics coming out on the European side of things, where teams are just getting plenty of presence in mid-map, see what they can do from there. But I don't know. It's interesting to see how this one is going to play out, but I think it's a crucial one for LAG Academy. It really is, and let's see if they can get it done. But this series, it's anything but simple. We know what Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War has been like so far. It's unpredictable, and let's see if we can continue to have an unpredictable series between these two. I kind of hope we do get a long one. I'd like to see a close game between these two, because I think, you know, these guys are kind of at the point where they're like on the verge of they don't want to be relegated. They don't think they should be, at least anyway, immediately. They should be the ones going into the playoffs, and that's kind of where they need to be sitting, and then go from there and see what you can do. But we are now heading into Miami Search and Destroy. Can LAG Academy bounce back, or is it going to be built by gamers taking a 2-0 lead in the series? Let's find out who has the S&D prowess.
Yeah, and I know LAG Academy, you know, just to kind of add to that a little bit, they had a little bit of a struggle this year, you know, not necessarily doing the best and trying to qualify for the Elite Series, and just to see them here is just amazing. So even with the loss of Chino, they're doing really well with Mox, and I hope to continue to see that right here. So right now off the bat, we have Built by Gamers, who actually have 2 down, and bomb site looks like it's B site. In terms of LAG Academy now, we do have the correct teams on our view now. And bomb goes down. Mental does get that plant off, and what a huge kill in there from Exceed. And now it's gonna be really tough to see if Kismet can clutch this up. Now left in a 1 versus 1.
1 versus 1, but it is doable from Kismet. There you go. Oh, he's gonna let him know about it as well.
Oh no, we've seen
just
that
before. Just a little bit. Kismet's a nice guy. He wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Big round from Kismet, though. That's a 1v2 to kick things off. And if you're LAG Academy, that couldn't have went worse. You've lost the first map by 5 points, 4 points, something like that. And then you go into round number 1, have a really nice break, and Kismet says no. There's the one. Mental gets caught with his aim up a little bit, but sometimes we know that that's not necessarily the best way to go about things. Kismet with 3 kills in that round, and as I said, it's a bad way to start if you're LAG. You just get that bit of momentum, bombs down, you're like, yeah, we're cruising to a win here, and it's a 1v2 all of a sudden. Difficult one to take, but Built Bar Gamers take the lead.
Now it looks like LAG Academy might play an aggressive push there through the bomb site, but Ander X looks like they're okay. We're having a couple team kills, maybe around end. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Maybe somebody lagged out. Blue screened. We've seen it happen before.
We have indeed.
Nonetheless, okay. Well, with BBG up being 1-0, like you said, that last situation, kind of a tough spot to be in if you're LAG Academy, but I can still bring it back. We're not worried.
Yeah, it's just one round at the end of the day, isn't it? So we'll figure out what's going on as soon as we know exactly what happened. I didn't see anybody lag out personally.
Didn't either.
Did you notice anything? No, I'm not too sure, but we will figure out what's going on very, very shortly. But it's just been super interesting to see the NA side of things. You know, like for us, we haven't actually had a chance to commentate over them in quite some time. With the finals obviously going on so late, and obviously the NA side of things does usually get drafted in. But for this week, it's nice to see these teams coming in, and I think for me, you know, obviously with all the roster changes happening, it is very much like a crescendo, not crescendo, like it like cascades down, doesn't it?
a decrescendo.
Yeah, a player does get. Yeah, it's completely the opposite, the crescendo. It's a case of like one player getting picked up by a franchise, and it kind of just like topples it down a little bit, doesn't it? It's like a domino effect. And I think that's why we have so many different changes that come through in the challenger side in North America. Of course, the talent in Europe is very, very solid as well, especially at the top end. Just as good, I would say. We'll not get into that argument again, but at the same time, it's difficult. Yeah, we'll save that for another day. It's very difficult, obviously, for those players to get on the franchise teams. Being based in Europe, it does make things a lot more difficult. But I don't know. We have seen continuously the movement of challenger players up to that franchise roster. So much more than normal, and it's something I mentioned before, and it's maybe something worth revisiting as well, to the point of, in this franchise season, this is my theory on it personally anyway, if you win a regular LAN season, you would be picking up those veterans typically if something wasn't working, and you'd be going into these events, you'd be preparing for these events for a few weeks, or you may have your regular season going on, but you'd be preparing for these big LAN events, and that's kind of where you would be making your practice point towards, because that's where the money was, that's where the glory is, at the big LAN events, of course. But now that the season isn't kind of like that in the franchise side of things, because of COVID mostly, obviously everything being based online, and just these weekly matches that build up towards that major and put you in a position in the bracket, these teams have the chance to maybe test other things out. They can take the risk a little bit more. That's kind of my position on it, in terms of trying out these challenger players and sort of saying, right, okay, well, let's give these guys a go. And if it doesn't work out, well, it's not the end of the world. We can then sort of rejig around if we need to. I don't know. I just think that this current state of how Call of Duty is being played in terms of obviously the online world, it just opens the door more for these challenger players, I would say. It gives them more of a chance. You're not looking at players from a standpoint of LAN experience, because they're just doing exactly what they've been doing anyway in the challenger scene, and that's sitting in their bedrooms and playing from there. You're not having to be on the stage when you've never been. Like, for instance, you've got Hydra, who's barely been to a LAN event in his life, but he would be going and sit next to Calais there on a stage right now if it wasn't for COVID. But right now he can chill in the apartment, get used to, in a familiar, comfortable environment, etc., etc. It's just maybe one of my thoughts, and I'm not. Hydra was just an example in that scenario to say, well, okay, yeah, look, he's the guy that doesn't have the experience, but he has the talent, and we can use that in a comfortable scenario for him. So it is an easier spot at this moment in time for these challenger players to make that step up, and we may unearth some fantastic talent towards that top end. But then there may be some experienced guys, like we were talking about with Saints before, who maybe, don't get that chance necessarily when they have been playing well, because they are favoring that challenger side of things. Try and see some of these guys step up, but we've seen so many of them play well, Ellen, throughout the franchise side of things. Insight is kind of the number one for me. He's stepped up the play. and he's looked.
He's
I mean,
amazing.
obviously, me and Bryce have cast over Insight for quite a number of years, and he always has been a very solid player, but he really has made that step up and looked so good in that Toronto roster, of course. But we're back into this game. There's my rant, if you like.
I agree. Every single word that you were saying. It's true, though. I mean, that means we're doing our job, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, making it in challenges and part of the showcasing aspect of it, but that's what you want to do. Essentially, you play in challengers and you want to get picked up by a franchise team. This is not a one-stop shop. This is basically
it's the path to pro, right?
It's the path to pro, right? It's the next step to being showcased. So although it stinks that some of these teams are, constant roster changes and getting pushed around, but at the same time, it's wonderful for those new players that do get picked up by a franchise team and get to really outshine in the CDL. So nonetheless, it stinks and sometimes it is hard to follow, but there's plenty of resources out there that do broadcast and showcase and try to keep you up to date as much as possible, like the community stream, Chip, and Infinity. They do a really good job at getting that extra coverage there. So nonetheless, it's just, if you really want to shine, definitely sign up for a Challengers Elite tournament and qualify and make it, and you never know what could happen.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, this is the next level of competition, isn't it? And more so to the point of, like, another one that we were talking about before there, where some of these players who have dropped down from franchise team have struggled in the challenger side, because it is difficult. It's super difficult. You know, the level, as mentioned, is not much different, and I'd be super interested to see how many of these teams would do against some of the franchise rosters, honestly. Especially some of the top European and the top NA teams, if you threw them in there in the mix, give me like an old champs kind of vibe. Oh, I'd live for it. My goodness, it would be interesting, wouldn't it?
That would be really
back
interesting.
Into this one.
As we have Express,
Build by
Rain,
Gamer.
Standoff. I mean, this would just be a blast from the past for you, I bet.
Oh, you're making me feel old now, Alan, but yeah, it would be indeed. Nonetheless, though, Build by Gamers do experience, yes, wise, maybe. Build by Gamers do have a 1-0 lead in this Search and Destroy, so first to 5 for them. LAG Academy, of course, need 6.
Now, Kismet, big kill there onto Mox as they push onto this A bomb site. Now, Mental, couple shots in there, and Pentagram, and he does take him out, but now you have Mental and Exceed, and it's going to be a question or not if we can actually get this kill on the GodderX, but GodderX does get taken out as Pander over there on the other side of the map does trade out Exceed, and now, Mental left at a 1v2, 35 seconds left, and they know exactly where he is, so this is going to be really hard for him to retake.
Oh, that's some great shots coming in from on top of the boat all the way through to mid-map. That bomb is now down, and Mental is kind of like, right, well, this is going to be difficult. Does have a Krig, so not the end of the world. Panda's the one you want rid of. And this should be an easy enough round for Build by Gamers. Panda will tag him up, and he's just going to be challenged by 2 different players, and there you go, 2-0 now to Build by Gamers. Good Search and Destroy from them so far.
Huge kill. Once they had that first blood, Kismet had that first blood on the Mox, they just essentially just got set up onto that A-bomb site, set up beachside, and like you said, when you have an AR in your hand, Pander is right there to shut you down, and it's really hard to retake that with the way he's been playing. Like I said, I've said it a couple of times, but he's just, from that game that I watched last night against TMNT and Fantastic Four, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's just how amazing that he's been playing and Flip the Script just from that, losing that first series when they had lost 0-3. But LAG Academy now on the offensive side, they're going to have to take this round. Now, keep in mind, the score does say 1-0 Built by Gamers, but it's actually 2 as we end the first time. Now, Mental trying to struggle to stay alive in that hotel. Built by Gamers do take down 2, and now Exceed is going to try to answer back.
Let's see what's going to happen here as the push comes through. Panda will find the kill onto Exceed, though. Mox treads it out with a kill on the GodderX, and 2v1 now for Mox to try and pull off, and really could do with finding this one. Oh, he might have got timing. Has he? Not quite. Is he going to be able to get away? That's a bit of a strange one, but bullets starting to go through. Now this becomes ever more difficult. He's very blind and very dead. Built by Gamers cruising here. 3-0 now.
Yeah, that was really tough if you're Mox. You have Built by Gamers, as soon like they knew exactly where he was, and the stunts came in. He was blinded, and essentially you just want to hurry up and pick up that kill. So Kismet on a 4 streak right now. He's playing exceptionally well. Panda on a 3 streak. These two, the duo right now, are just cutting down LAG Academy, and they're definitely going to have to be shut down if they want a chance to contest this. Now, Built by Gamers. Looks like we're going to have an aggressive push towards the B site here. Ton and split push from LAG Academy. We have 2A, 2B, but Pentagram now pushing right down the middle does take down Nero, and now LAG Academy is going to have to find a way to answer back on this one, but Pander now cuts down Mox, and now the push is going to slowly start to come towards that A site and work that bomb plant.
Things are just going so well for Built by Gamers here. Exceed now sitting at 0-2. Not gonna happen. Another round for Built by Gamers. 4-0 now. I mean, this is tough. I mean, what do you say to LAG? I think, you know, after how that first map is lost and when they've been so close, Search and Destroy just starts to slip through your fingers very quickly. It's not a good spot to be in the series, not even remotely.
It certainly is not, now being down 0-4, but 0-2 in the series. LAG Academy really need to shut down Kismet and Pander, as they're both streaking out right now. Pentagram as well on a 2 streak, so they're just doing a really good job at slaying and playing. But LAG Academy is going to have to answer back here now, as both teams just... Built by Gamers playing a little bit aggressive, but backing off, knowing that LAG Academy, it looks like they're playing a little bit of passive here, kind of just playing for picks, not necessarily anything special going on, but Pander takes down that kill on Nero. Absolutely amazing shots from him now, evening up with Kismet, both on a 5 streak, and gosh, Ton, I don't know here. This is really hard to cut them down. If you're LAG Academy, playing just so fantastically well by Built by Gamers.
Good shots. Well played from Exceed, but Panda will find one at the mental, and as mentioned, it just feels as if LAG Academy are always on the back foot. They're always a man down. The only time they haven't been was the 1v2 that came out of Kismet in the very first round.
Yeah.
This is looking like it should be 5-0 here for Built by Gamers. As mentioned, they did have a round. We had to have a restart. Mox gets a hold of the bomb, but Kismet is going to get away, and now the information is there. Do you know where the push is coming from? Yes, they do. Mox is going to win that gunfight, though. 2v2, but has he got time to plant? I don't think he does. Just need to keep him off the bomb. One of the players needs to survive. And that is a Built by Gamers win in a way that LAG will not be happy with. That bomb needs to go down. Took too long getting it around.
Yeah, it looked like the ball, the ball. This ain't uplink. The bomb was kind of stalling a little bit there. I don't know, maybe they were a little bit too scared to push out, but, you know, it's that time. That time is a factor, so if you're at LAG Academy, this is pretty hard to turn around. Pander hasn't even died yet. But nonetheless, Built by Gamers now on the offensive side. Looks like they're going to push towards B. They have LAG Academy now. Mental and Nero up top here in this hotel here, Ton. I don't know if they can come back from this.
Yeah, it's a long way to go. Of course, this is 5-0 for Built by Gamers, as mentioned. Can they continue this, though? Try and clutch this one up. Mental will find the first kill, but that will be traded out. Panda taking one of the LAG players down. Oh, here comes the streaks that Panda now has, sitting at 7-0. Just a little bit of information gathered from that, and then all of a sudden, you can see the fast rotation over towards A. Yeah, LAG Academy don't know what's going on here, unfortunately. GodRx is covering the cross back over towards the A site as that bomb goes down, but Morks can possibly do something here. GodRx is going to get spotted. He's going to find the kill as well as Nero. And that now is a 1 versus 3 for Panda. Now he does have that artillery available. He's going to find the kill on the Morks. No, not on the bomb yet, but he could do with just getting away and try to call in this streak. There he goes. Missile going to come in. There's one. Other one straight onto the bomb. Nero hasn't got a clue where he is. And this will be the icing on the cake for Panda. A 1 versus 3.
Flawless.
10-0 if he hits it. My goodness me. Built by Gamers and Panda have just put on a clinic in Miami. It was like season finals in Black Ops 4. Wow. My goodness.
That was so smart. So smart from Pander. I mean, in a 1 versus 3, and again, he had streaks, just didn't necessarily over-challenge anything, laid down, waited, called his streak in, and that was a smart traditional gameplay right there.
GodRx is 0-4, and they still won 5-0. Technically 6-0. Just a ridiculous performance on the side of Built by Gamers. We're going to go through a replay. I'd imagine it's going to be quite short, as that was as convincing as you could possibly like in Search and Destroy. It was the Kismet 1v2 to kick things off. Of course, we had a restart. Came back into it with a 1-0 lead, Built by Gamers, but some good shots by Kismet. I don't even think Mental got any off.
Yeah,
it just never felt like LAG were going to get around.
Really, realistically, that's true. I didn't even realize that GodRx didn't even have a kill. So overall, good stuff. Pander just played out of his mind. Like I said, this is the man to watch between last night and then tonight. He's just been playing on point and doing such a fantastic job, and it's just showing. It's just showing. It really is.
Yeah, really well played by Panda throughout that whole Search and Destroy, a 10-0 scoreline. And I don't know if I'm like not hyping it up enough, but it was just so it was so dominant from the side of Built by Gamers. It felt like any one of them could have popped off in that kind of way. But we do have a map number 3 to contest with here between these two teams. And, well, we still might have a 4th and 5th. You never know. But at this moment in time, it feels like the motivation for LAG is gone. I think they win that map number 1, then we maybe see a very different Search and Destroy. Very, very close. 8 points in the end it was, but the Search and Destroy was far from that. 6-0 for Built by Gamers. Raid Control coming up next, and yeah, okay, you might say that first map was close, but after how that second game is won with a 1v3 to finish it out 6-0 on Miami, you've got to feel that Built by Gamers are feeling it. LAG, maybe not so much.
I agree. LAG, though, not impossible to turn this around. Raid Control, we've seen how close it was first time around, so it's not like, you know, they're going to struggle as much as maybe that Miami, because again, Miami is Miami. I know it's not necessarily a personal favorite, but this Raid Control. So kind of got to wipe off those last 2 games, or excuse me, that last game, because the first game wasn't that bad, but nonetheless, you kind of lost it. They lost that huge lead that they had, but kind of just have to really swing the momentum in their favor here and just apply a lot of positive energy going into this next map and just shake it off, push through, because they know they're a really good team. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here.
Well, no, that's exactly right. That is exactly right. You do have to sort of just put those last 2 maps at the back of your mind and sort of be like, right, okay, well, if you had any problems during them, let's discuss them afterwards, because we do have Raid Control coming up very, very shortly. Which, you know, it's a map that it could go either way. We've seen how close map number 1 is, so you never know. You never know if this could go the way of LA Gorillas and maybe they could turn this one around. But we are just awaiting this one starting up. Should be starting fairly shortly as well. And I'm curious, Ellen, is there any route back here for LAG? Are you feeling it, or are you pretty much convinced that Built by Gamers have got this one? Because that's kind of the camp I'm in at the moment.
Yeah, I was convinced from the start. BBG has just been really hot the last 2 days, and a lot of pressure's on for them because last week wasn't the greatest for them. I mean, they essentially rescheduled their matches, and then they had one last night, but that they lost. But again, they completely flipped the script and overall are just flaming through the competition. And you can tell they want it, and they're showing that. So for me, I think that BBG may close this out right here. But again, there is a lot of favorites on LAG. That team is not, down but not out again, as I keep saying, because they still have another week to play. So nonetheless, this is not necessarily going to put them in the best spot, but as long as they don't fall 7th and 8th, they should be really good and hopefully work on any mistakes, look at VODs, and apply that into the playoffs next week.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things we pointed out a couple of times this evening, isn't it? That, realistically, as long as you get yourself into that top 6, that's the important thing. Then that's when you really do need to play your best Call of Duty. But I can see the players are all in the lobby. We'll be getting this one underway very, very shortly. Is it going to be a 3-0 for Built by Gamers, or are LAG Academy going to make a game out of this one? Let us know what you think in the chat. Should be an interesting game nonetheless, and hopefully we have a close one like we did in the previous time we've seen in Raid, of course, but that was on Hardpoint. We move over to Control now, and I am curious if LAG Academy can turn this one around. Solid roster. They had such a good start to the Hardpoint as well, but since then it really has been completely in control with Built by Gamers, but it will be LAG to attack first.
Yeah, I kind of wish we had listen-ins. I just hope that they're not arguing or, the team is falling apart, but they really need to come back into the series, and it's just really hard when you still have GodRx and the whole side of BBG, Pander getting that kill there on Exceed. It's just their slaying power looks so well, but nonetheless, Pander's going to solidify and lock down these pool stairs here as he takes down Mox, and BBG quick cap onto A now. LAG, can they hold on to B?
It's going to be hard, isn't it? Already some penetration coming through in the kitchen side. Penta will find 2 as well. They need to deal with the one player who's up top. That's going to be Mendel. Good shots from GodRx. Now worry about it from the front. GodRx on his own for now, but he is going to get some support very, very quickly. No, he just turns around at the wrong time, but is he still going to find the kill on a Nero? My goodness me, how's he managed to find that? They need to get rid of Mendel inside of Money, who finds 3. Is he going to chance for the 4th? Yes, he is, but he's not going to be able to be afforded that one as Penta trades this one out of B.
All Built by Gamers just pushing here to the front, but you take a look at Kismet now. He's actually going around, but you have Exceed who kind of peeked that, but LAG, they're not watching their flank right now. Essentially, Kismet can push through and maybe probably shoot a couple in the back, but Kismet anticipating somebody being on the flank and Mental holding down this Money. But he actually Kismet did manage to get taken down by Exceed, and LAG Academy kind of trapped a little bit with their backs on the wall as Built by Gamers push through the front, and now Pentagram taking down Nero. And you're going to slowly start to see the flood come in, but BBG overall, they're up in lives. They still have a little bit of time left, and they can kind of play this a little bit slower as GodRx, he does take down 2. So you have Nero actually on the pinch here at Pool Stairs, who takes down 2 and answers back with the 3rd. That is exactly the type of momentum that LAG Academy needs if they want to come back into the series here, Ton.
My goodness me. That is outstanding from Nero, and that's the kind of play that we need to see from the LAG Academy. But we just haven't seen enough of that. We've seen Nero popping off now and then, but maybe not quite enough for getting LAG Academy back into this one. They still have a chance to do this. Still lives down, but Mendel holding bedroom well. Can't find the kill on the GodRx, although that will be traded out by Mox with some good shots. But Kismet, he's made the push around inside the Money. Is he going to survive this attack as well? But there you go. Whatever Nero can do, Kismet can do too. Gonna die with instant impact though, and Mendel will find 2. These lives remaining, slowly ticking down. Which way is this one gonna go? Kismet finds another 2 kills, my goodness. How can you let him keep doing this? Exceed now, is he gonna find 2 kills? Yes, he is. Backwards and forwards. LAG Academy though, with only 2 lives remaining. And Kismet's little spree towards the end is really what's going to make the difference here, and Built by Gamers get the attack. That's tough.
Yeah, that was tough. LAG looked like they were starting to come alive, and Nero with that huge 3-piece, they had a chance to, push up and be a nuisance in their spawn, but nonetheless, Built by Gamers just looking so good right now. Every single member of their team has been playing consistent all night, and I don't know. this is if you're LAG Academy, you really got to turn it around right here, right now. You can't afford to essentially lose any more rounds, but now hopping on board with Mental here. Looks like LAG Academy is going to make it towards a B push. Mental does get that kill down on Pentagram. GodderX is left alone with 3 members of LAG Academy pushing towards that site. But Pentagram now spawning up is going to actually rotate over and help. But LAG Academy potentially getting 2 ticks onto this zone. But again, built by gamers, the slaying power is just too strong coming from them. They cleared out the site now, working to be aggressive and be a nuisance into LAG Academy's bases. You have Kismet to worry about here at the garage site.
Shots from GodderX. Can't keep them off A. I think if you're built by gamers, you kind of kept them off both at this point. Mox now. Trying to get something going for his team here, but 47 seconds is not a lot of time. Takes one good break over towards A, though. Which is where I really think they should be concentrating their efforts. Just to get some more time on the board here, Ellen. Built by gamers happy to defend A, though. They have done, but here go the rest of LAG over towards B. 2 players now currently on the point. Shots from Kismet. Oh, he needs the rest of his team there with him.
Now, LAG Academy looking a little bit better here as they did capture B. And you had Ventil there trying to work towards A and get into that laundry spawn, but he does get taken down. And now, built by gamers, they have about 1 minute and 20 to hold. Gonna be interesting to see how LAG Academy work this. But nonetheless, you have players working all the way around towards the laundry side. And GodderX is just sitting pretty there in the, onto the A site, but Pentagram managing to take down 2. And overall, they're kind of spread out on both sides, the opposite ends of the map. Built by gamers, completely set up. They have mid, they have garage, they have laundry. LAG Academy, you don't really see too much map control coming from them, so this is going to be really hard for them to break. And now, built by gamers, essentially too, being ahead in lives here, Ton.
Yeah. Problem is, the thing is here for LAG Academy, as GodderX finds 2, time is kind of on your side to a certain degree. It doesn't mean my build by gamers can really play with this life difference, because LAG Academy just need 1 good break hit. That's all they need. Although it doesn't feel like they're going to get it. And there's 4 kills going to come on through, and now build by gamers should cruise away to the rest of this round. 16 seconds remaining. It needs to be clean as a whistle from LAG Academy. And while Panda and Co are set up, Mox pushes through, dead. Mendel through the middle as well on the Kismet. Yes, he's going to find him, but are they going to find any more? Maybe not enough. Not close enough. Built by gamers are cruising here.
Yeah, this is looking almost impossible for LAG Academy. Built by gamers just doing such a good job at their teamwork, their chemistry, locking down the map. They're doing everything correctly, and it's just showing. It's showing. But nonetheless, I really don't want to count out LAG Academy, but it's just really looking. It's just looking more and more like this win is going to be slipping from them. But
I had
now on the
such high
defensive
hopes.
side, yeah,
I had such
did.
high hopes after map number 1. What a disappointment. Built by gamers hitting over towards B initially here, Alan. See if they can get a hold of this one. Kismet has been so good this series. Might just be sitting at 14 and 12 right now, but just been clutch moment after clutch moment from him. Exceed with shots in. Just teetering on the edge of jumping over towards B now as LG Academy actually tightening the noose here. Monk's getting in around behind. He is going to get traded out, but Exceed is going to defend from the back and defend once again has got RX falls, but the rest of Build by Gamers get themselves over towards A and just trying to bank this time.
Yep, and then you have Mental to worry about here, who's actually mid-zig. He does cut down Kismet now, trying to answer back and take down GodderX, but GodderX managing to get away with his life. And now, kills come in from LAG Academy, but lives remaining at 26. They're ahead in lives here and on that A site, so this is looking good. Hopefully to slide a capture here, but, excuse me, defense, but Built by Gamers is going to really have to answer back to push through, and they do. They clear out the point,
3 dead.
get the tick, and now Built by Gamers is working towards that B site, and they did capture A.
And get a hold of it. So now it's 1:36 to try and get a hold of B. That's 2 big kills. If you're mental, you really need to try and stay alive, but if you're Built by Gamers, you really need to press the issue whilst there's a couple of players still coming in off spawn. Mental falls, and Nero, momentarily the last one there. B gets ticking. Being very clean from the side of Built by Gamers so far. They don't really have much mid-map control here. They don't need it. They're just forcing through the front door. There's 3 dead. They're going to stack it. 2 on there at the moment. About to be 3 as well. Panda is going to fall on the mid-map though, but this has been stacked and this one's going up quickly. Mental from behind. Finds a kill. Still doable for LAG Academy here.
Yep, they managed to clear out all those points, but the minute left and only 1 tick. The amount of slaying power that BBG is putting up, this is going to be very difficult to do. They cannot make a single mistake now. Mental does find Panda up on that top bedroom side, and overall looks like LAG Academy might have control over this, but Pentagram does take down Exceed, and with a minute left, I mean, Built by Gamer still has a little bit of time to play with, and you have Pentagram to worry about on that laundry side.
Yeah, Pentagram and Co. on the Built by Gamer squad have 45 seconds. They need 1 good break. Mental now dead. Up top mansion. Nero now inside. A Tiki needs to go big. We'll find 1 kill on the Kismet. You can take your time if you're Built by Gamers, though. The stick comes through. GodRx finds another. Moxon maybe needs to try and do something here. Is going to be able to trade it out, but it's not going to be enough. They're just going to stack the point. This should be game. This will be the map. This will be the series. Built by Gamers. As clean as you would like to see. Oh yeah, they made it look real easy. 3-0, and they really are on an upwards trajectory at the moment. A very, very solid outing.
I was going to say, I have to credit Seymour on this one. Last night during the community stream, literally changed the name of Built by Gamers and called them Built by Different. I mean, in terms of the games that we just saw tonight, even from the 4 maps that they played, they've been playing out of their mind. Taking that victory over Triumph, taking that victory, I mean, it looked like it could have potentially been a game 5, but they just made it look too easy. Panda didn't even die in the search, and that's just... You want a search and destroy map in the Elite Series 3v4. I mean, that's insane. The challenge is Elite, you 3v4 at a search, and it's just DPG is just playing out of their mind. They really are. Built by Different.
Yeah, they certainly are, and that was a pretty fast game as well. I was like, oh wow, that's going pretty one-sided. But while we're not going to dwell too much on a game like that, let's catch you up with today's games and how they have, of course, gone down. Elevate took down August 3-1 in the very first game of the day. Then Amelia Strays put them down. They lost that 3-0. We moved over to our North American region. UT Crew defeated Easter 3-0 as well. There's been a lot of 3-0s today on broadcast. And of course, the last one we just saw, Built by Gamers, taking them down themselves. Lag Academy fall in pretty one-sided fashion, Ton.
Yeah, I mean, this is... we had promise in map number 1, but honestly, since LAG's second hill on raid, it's pretty much been Built by Gamers all the way through. So I don't know. We did have some promise with map number 1, but Built by Gamers showing their pedigree within the next 2 maps there, and good for them. Honestly, they should really be a team who's looking towards the top end, who's looking towards playoffs to go on to win it. At this moment in time, if they keep playing like this, they've got a good shot.
Yeah, I think so, and that's another great point we were talking about, right? There is still a good amount of games left to go, although not as many as when we first started this broadcast. But if you can make it into Challengers Elite, which obviously is difficult itself, especially in the North American region, lots of talent trying to make it in, but you still got a possible chance to try and make it into a knockout tournament and then playoffs and then win the entire thing. But still loads more games to go. And speaking of those games, let's catch everyone up on the schedule for tomorrow. These are already locked in, starting off in the European region. August take on Team 3G. Then again in Europe, we have Elevate versus the Mavericks. We take our little break, we fly across to North America, and the next games coming up will be Subliners Academy versus Triumph, and then to end out our broadcast, Fantastic Four versus TMNT. And if you have kept up with our broadcast as well, you'll know that those aren't the only games we watch. Those are just the scheduled games. We guarantee you those games, but we try and cover as much as possible. So if we have a fast game, we'll jump across to another one. But as we've seen so many great games today, we'll go for our kind of final thoughts on all the games we've seen today. Ellen, I'll start with you.
I was a little bit surprised about Team Amelia earlier versus Elevate. They solidified that win, and now they're 5-0 in the league. So good stuff from them, a newer team that we essentially haven't seen. And return of some older players that used to play back in the day, aka Watson. And tonight, BBG, I'm really impressed with them. This is a squad that we have seen essentially come up. They didn't, I think the first stage 1, they had a 2-5 record, didn't necessarily do the best, but now they're looking great. This team, they stuck together, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how well this team just keeps getting better and advances along in the series.
Yeah, me too as well. I'm very much looking forward to seeing it. And Tan, how about you?
Yeah, it's been a good evening in the games, and I'm sort of in the same sentiments. I didn't really expect Amelia Strays to go as far as they did. I thought they would fall off at a certain point after a few good wins. I always thought they'd make playoffs, but the way that they played against Elevate, especially in the fashion that they find that win, is mental to me. And that's absolutely crazy that they found themselves in that spot. They look so good, and same for Built by Gamers. They look fantastic tonight, and I'm really looking forward to the games on the NA side of things tomorrow. They look juicy. I think the EU side are kind of a formality to a certain degree now, though I know those teams at the bottom have really struggled, but on the North American side, those games tomorrow should be nice.
Yeah, they certainly should be nice. And that kind of brings us on to the end, I suppose, of this broadcast, because all the games are pretty much done that we are going to have an ability to watch. But of course, tomorrow, starting at 12 p.m. Pacific, and that is going to be 9 p.m. CET, we will have even more games, 4 more guaranteed to be on broadcast. So if you're a fan of Amelia Strays or New York Subliners Academy or any one of these fantastic teams, you can catch the games tomorrow. More of the Call of Duty Challengers Elite.